I realized I didn't press play on something I was supposed to press play on.
Luke.
YouTube might miss 1 or 2 minutes, but it is now live as well. Sure would be nice if OBS made all of them go live at once.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. You can always pull the VOD from Twitch if that's what you want to do. Hey, what do I know? Yes,
Nothing, obviously. A failed YouTube channel.
I know. I know.
Washed pro player, like.
Oh, God. Here we go. Can't win anything. Goes 2-3 at set champs, etc., etc.
When we were discussing like the player card tokens, I was like, yours could be you holding a deck up to me.
Oh my God. Yours could be a picture of you losing, Vanable.
For those who don't know, Bannable gave me the list I did well with. After not knowing how to make my own deck, I was bailed out by an amazing teammate. One of the reasons why teams are nice, if you were wondering. Ooh, Elsa. Drawing a card and taking out characters. I assume you tag team the rabbit.
I would think so. I mean, especially if you have a bounce, like if you have a snake coming down here.
Yep.
Seems like
very good. There's a lot of micro games in this, and one of them is having all the cards, right? If you're both trading back and forth, the first person to run out of resources is probably going to lose.
Okay, I mean, if you're Gabe, you're pretty happy about that turn. You know, your opponent's on 7 ink this turn. They could have, I mean, really, really blown you out. And then Elsa, obviously, taking out your rabbit's not what you want to have happen necessarily, but it's a lot better than, like, the worst case scenario.
I don't know if you have chat open, but they miss you.
I don't have chat open. Who misses me? And why are they lying?
You just got to open chat if you want to know who misses you, I guess.
I'll open
it. Ooh, singing strength on the Elsa. All right, all right.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a good few turns here.
Like, big Elsa's kind of scary, but not that scary, honestly. Like, it's way more scary when there's things in play. And there just isn't, right? Although, I mean, the big Elsa's scary, but I almost kind of think I would have just taken out the rabbit and left their Elsa. Like, yeah, shift your big Elsa, maybe challenge something. I play a character and then sing strength on your big Elsa and like get the tempo steal. And then you don't have a rabbit to bounce back. If superior like quest bounce play, like that's frustrating.
It actually does seem like a pretty decent option for sure.
Yeah, I just don't know if Gabe has enough pressure to make it through that. Well, there was the Elsa that. Yeah, I mean, Gabe definitely took out the Elsa to play around the Elsa, right?
Yeah, I feel like the Elsa's and Hades had to be coming. You know, we saw the bell inked earlier, and then the 7 ink play was not particularly good for superior synergy. So the hand has to be full of something. I feel like Elsa's and Hades seem like pretty good, pretty likely candidates.
I'm interested to see which of these. Okay, it was those two. I mean, a fox is a little scary. I didn't notice the ad popping up in time to delay it. I'm just terrible at my job. This is why I've been having other people cast. Like, I can cast or I can produce. But apparently I'm terrible when I have to do both.
It's like kind of a lot of multitasking.
It's
hard enough doing YouTube stuff. I can stop and restart that whenever I want.
Calhoun. Well, do we have another character? Then we could have played the strength. So if
Looking like maybe not, but
I guess the question is, if you were superior synergy and they took out your rabbit and all you had was an Elsa, would you challenge a 3-3 with it, or would you just exert two things and then quest out?
well, I think Superior Synergy probably taps the Chernobog's followers. Then you take the Chernobog out for free is likely what would have happened.
So there'd have been two on it, and then Gabe could have strength for 4 to like leave superior with almost nothing in play. I mean, he would have had two more.
Well, I'm saying don't
plays
like you
after.
don't shift. You just like hard cast the Elsa and then
Oh,
use
okay.
the you already
Oh,
have
and take
play.
out the baby Elsa. That makes sense. That's a much better play.
Yeah. All right, Sail. Yeah, I mean, Sail's not really what you want to be doing at this point of the game. Makes you really wonder what's in Superior Synergy's hand. That there was a point where I thought for sure this one was over, and it's like getting closer and closer.
Oof.
That's a pretty
That
good call.
that is not good for Gabe. I want to say our hero because obviously I'm rooting for the Steel player over the Sapphire player. Come on, Sapphire? There's a better S ink you can play, and it is Steel.
I think that it's kind of cool that Blurple gets his time in the sun now. People have been trying to make Blurple work since the beginning, and it really has not. Maybe been tier 2 at best, but it's like tier 1.5 right now. I'd say it's pretty good.
Reminds me of Dude TCG. He was like the best play in the game. Turn 3 Mickey, turn 4 Snake the Mickey, replay Mickey. Blurple's come a little bit farther than that now. Who was on the play this game? I think it was Gabe,
I believe
right?
Superior. I thought Superior.
Oh, it was Superior? Okay.
Yeah. Which is why, like, he got out to a big lead right away, and I thought that he was going to kind of ride it to an easy victory, but it certainly hasn't played out that way. I could be wrong, though. My memory is not what it...
You are quite wrong quite often.
Yeah. Someone has to be wrong.
It's just nice when it's not me for once.
I'm wrong, so you can be right. That's what I'm here for.
Going into the tank. I looked away for 1 second, and Elsa died. Banished. Who banished poor Elsa?
Just got challenged down. I think maybe...
Oh, there's a Zeus in the...
Yeah, Zeus Bull plus Elsa challenged down.
We drawn cards. Oh.
Are we undoing the draw? Oh, is it a judge? I wonder if it's the judge call, because he challenged before saying draw. He like put the Elsa in play, like exerted basically. So it's maybe a short-cutting question, whether or not you can do that. That's my guess.
All right, so they're not getting the draw.
Yeah, I believe.
Unfortunate.
Phil laid down the hammer, said,
Yeah.
No, buddy. You missed the trigger. You've already challenged.
Sequencing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to be very deliberate.
Like, people might be saying, like, this is casual games. I mean, yes and no. It's casual, but it's being played with some of the best players in the world. So, like, we're definitely trying to use the highest competitive REL, like, just to, in general, I think it's best to do.
REL being rules enforcement level for those not in the know.
Maybe we'll make a special rule, but I'm pretty sure the judges would be mad at me if I was like, let's make special rules for the game. We allow take-backs because we say so. We might have to find new judges if we did something silly like that. Right, so one of the reasons that we have these amazing judges helping us is, in general, it also gives them more experience judging, right? They're going to see these intricate plays. They're going to be able to make sure that they're on top of their game, just like the players are playing for similar reasons. And all of the clout in the world. Library's so good here, as you were saying. Like, oof.
Yeah, so the purple decks are often pretty good against Library, but there's not a lot of strength in play, and, 1+2+4 off of, say, a fox is not enough to remove library, so it's probably sticking around here.
Yeah, it'd have to be like crab, fox.
Yep.
Challenge.
Yeah, but Gable is only potentially 6 ink. I mean, he's only at 5 right now.
Yep. You just crab, fox, both on Elsa. Take out library. Use the fox to take out the bell, and then you use. Well, then you use the broom to take out Diablo, then fox to take out bell, and then you eat the broom and you have Elsa back in your hand. That's actually an insane turn if they have it.
It would be an insane turn, but it does require exactly fox plus crab.
Plus and it looks like they don't have it.
Indeed.
Who's your bestie? Is Bannaball your bestie? Colors Law? Or is someone in chat your bestie?
I'm assuming.
Maybe I'm the bestie.
No.
No, it can't be me.
Like you that much.
It could be you, but not me. No.
I think she's here taunting me, as usual.
It's Banny? Of course it's Banny.
Yeah.
Of course.
Everyone loves me, I know. I get it.
You are.
Okay, I've got another Elsa. Now this game is falling further and further.
They're fighting over you in chat.
Well, I'll allow it. Yeah, just take the opportunity quest here. There's no need necessarily to challenge when you play Elsa right away.
Is this when I make them all jealous and say that I've slept in a bed with you before?
No comment.
Yeah, the Elsa here is so devastating. Like, how do you come back? Like, hate.
That's not bad.
I mean, letting them draw 2 cards off of the Diablo's not
You gotta do
good.
something.
Yeah, it is true.
And now when the Elsa exerts, then you can fight back on your
cell phone. You're getting muted. I got ragged once on YouTube. They're like, these fools aren't even professional enough to mute their phones. Like, all right.
I don't think we ever claimed to be professionals.
Oh, I do. Every stream, like 3 or 4 times. Didn't I introduce you? I was like, professional Lorcana streamer, bannable, Harka.
Don't remember.
Diablo's definitely not banned. Oof. Well, I mean, when you have it all, right?
Yeah. It's big, but now you've also got, like, the bell back in your hand, which is also just very strong. Yeah, probably replay, take out Snake. All right. Okay, yeah, replay Bell, take out Snake. Yeah, definitely a big turn. It's interesting, you know. Yeah, the option of like using Fox to challenge a character there. I'm not really sure what the optimal play is, but I don't think it matters too much.
Ooh.
It's a pretty big lead. That's nice. Like, you can challenge Elsa, challenge Bell, shoot Elsa. It's not bad.
Yeah. It's not great. It's not bad. Do what you have to do. There's the library, right?
Right.
Like at this point, it's just over. It's so unfortunate for Gabe. It probably feels amazing for Superior Synergy. He's just like, I got this. Yep, this is game 1.
Well, I think Gabe put up a good fight given the matchup and how it started.
That's good to know, TJ. I'll show my wife that. I'm sure she will definitely agree that my face is there when in the dictionary under professional. So maybe Superior Synergy draws what? That's the one thing about this game compared to like Magic is like in Magic you're like, well, maybe they draw a land 3 turns in a row.
Yeah, that can't happen here.
Yeah, when every card in your deck draws a card or does something, basically, like you have to hope they draw things like 1 jump ahead, but that's not in this list. I mean, Tipo would be the card. It's like Superior
I think.
Synergy has to draw multiple Tipos in a row.
Yeah. There's no one jumps. There are sails, which are slow cantrips. Yeah, I don't know. It's rough. Like Diablos are not too bad. Like if they play a bunch of Diablos, you can get them with a Tinkerbell or something. If you don't remove the library, then it's kind of all for naught.
At this point, I think it's just over. I mean, we've been saying that. I'm just a jerk. I'm like, get over with it. Just concede already, Gabe.
There you go. Looks like
no, we're going I just had to say it, you know. They supposedly can't hear me. I'm pretty sure I'm muted. That would be hilarious, though. Ooh, all right, let's... do some editing on the fly, but it's invisible, so they don't know I'm doing it. But it also means that when I make it visible, I will probably have messed it up.
All right, so we're shuffling up. Go to game 2. Purple still gets to be on the play. I think if you're the purple steel player, you're looking to curve out into a 4-drop and sing Zeus Bolt. I think that's your kind of most powerful line, the one that puts you the furthest ahead on board and is most likely to lead to a victory. The longer the game goes, the more and more I think it shifts toward the blurple player in terms of win percentage. So, want to come out of the gates quick? Maybe like a triple 1-drop start or something like that. I suppose the purple steel players these days they're playing strength or raging fire, so you could strengthen in place of something like a Zeus Bolt. But yeah, if you're not using like a singer to remove things, I don't know if you're gonna have the tempo to slow the purple player down enough and get to 20 before they catch up with their else's in Hades.
All right. Let's go. Oh, I should probably update it so we know that one of the players...
Trying to look at the list while the players take mulligans here. Okay, so we've got 4 Genie, 4 Rabbit in the purple steel deck, which makes sense as the main draw engine. Yeah, it looks pretty typical. 1 Tinkerbell, exactly 1 Tinkerbell. So we saw the one of last game.
It did so much.
I mean, there weren't a lot of cards that were going to pull a player out of that hole, but it wasn't bad.
All right, so for those who just came in, we're starting game 2 of round 1. Superior Synergy took game 1 while on the play. Oh, what's going on? Oh, there we go. Fixed. And while some people might say, of course he won, he was on the play. And the play draw disparity is a little irritating right now. But Blurple's one of the decks that plays around that. And it's also worth noting that, like, people are actively choosing to play decks that will always win on the play and almost always lose on the play, on the draw, right? So it's interesting how, like, I chose to play Green Steel at Continentals because it could win games on the draw. Ryan played Blurple at Continentals because it could win games on the draw. Sailor played Red Blue because it could win games on the draw.
I'd argue Red Blue's a little rough on the draw, but
it's true
for sure.
But it has matchups that it can win on the draw, like humorously Daisy Ducks. It can win on the draw if they don't double triple Daisy, right?
I was gonna say it can, but honestly, if you're on the draw against a Daisy Duck turn 1, it's pretty rough. Like it's gonna quest at least 2 times until you take it out, and then that's only if you play Brawl on turn 3. And if you play Brawl on turn 3, you're not developing the board. Or CC, yeah, obviously. But
normally,
so it's still rough.
I have lost games with Daisy on the play against Sailor, and normally it was ramp into Sisu, or ramp into baby Sisu into shift Sisu.
That's
And
the most likely line for sure.
Yeah, and stabilize at 14, and everything I play for the rest of the game gets answered. And so it can do that, right? And so it's like really important to understand that you need to be able to win a game on a draw. And that's not just a 2-game format issue. Obviously it's important there. But wow, what an image for my face to freeze on there. But like best of 3 is also important. You have to win. If you lose the dice roll, you have to win at least 1 game on the draw, right?
You do get 2 tries, but yes. All right, so Gabe plays Snake Beam on turn 2, which is not necessarily the start you're looking for.
Nope.
I feel like Smee on turn 2 is maybe more ideal, but we've got a Smee on turn 3.
If it was a Maleficent being bounced, it'd be okay-ish.
Yeah, for sure, but I don't think that we have Maleficents in the deck. We do not. Which makes sense. Maleficent's a very matchup polarized card where against red blue it's amazing, and against a lot of other decks it's quite bad. Can be a liability a lot of the time. Yeah, Superior Synergy hitting the ramp on turn 2 means he can play 4-drop this turn if he wants.
So I heard some jokes about certain matchups where they're like, the best draw you can have in like red blue is like turn 1 pop, turn 2 sail, pop into Flaversham or something like that. And then other people said, well, the secret best play is when you're inking T-pos to do that, because then you're just getting rid of the cards you don't want.
That's true.
You're not going to top deck them. It's when your opponent's like inking turn 1 dragons and Tamatoas that you're like, oh baby, I'm going to win this late game. Like,
all right, using Crab to let a T-po trade with Snake Mim, always a good play. All right, Gabe gets the first rabbit down. Question then becomes, does Superior Synergy have the Elsa 5th Spirit to remove rabbit next turn? Because that would be a huge play here. And Gabe chooses not to quest, maybe afraid of the Elsa. Because like if Elsa came down, tap for rabbit, and then you could use Elsa to trade with Smee and Crab to eat the rabbit. That would have been pretty devastating. We've just got a rabbit of our own on the Blurple side.
rabbits are good.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the name of the game in a lot of these purple mid-rangey matchups. Like, if someone doesn't pull way ahead in the early game, then it ends up being a grind fest.
Man, I'd imagine I'd really despise Rabbit if Flaversham didn't exist.
I mean, Rabbit is a very strong card.
It's probably better than Flaversham, but it's not as... It's like a slower burn, so it just doesn't feel as oppressive. It still feels bad, but...
Yeah, I think the thing about Rabbit is that it competes with such other good cards at 4 in Amethyst.
And uninkable.
Yeah, it's uninkable, but, like, you've got Genie, you've got Goat, you've got... Like, I think about it, we can't even play Queen's Castle. It's so bad compared to the other purple 4-drops, which is just crazy. So many people cutting that card now. I think that there's a cost to playing Rabbit, and it's that you're not playing another amazing 4-drop. Yeah, the thing about Flaversham, it's just so hard to remove if you're not Ruby.
Oh, so I don't know if you were there for the discussion, but the last round of today is extra interesting because the players agreed that whoever loses is going to shave their head.
Pardon? Who's playing?
Brohamington versus Fumbles.
Interesting.
Fumbles is like, I'm not going to do if I lose, I'm not going to do a straight shave, but it'll be buzzed really, really short. It's like, I've got a job. Quite the board here.
That's so funny.
Yes, Ed, there is hilariousness attached. So fumbles. There's other hilarious things about that match that I'm not going to go into because they're in chat and they'd spoil it, and I don't want to give things out. But it'll be quite the match. We're going to have Liam and Sisu doing the commentary for the third round, and next round is going to be JDZ, and there's a possibility of two different people. Depends on whether or not Breezy is feeling good. If Breezy's not feeling good still, he was kind of sick yesterday and doesn't make it, then Bannible's going to do another round. I know the fans love Bannable.
Yeah. Again, it's questionable judgment, but I'll take it. Get a nice amethyst mirror here, just a pile of 3/3s in play. Oh, look, another 3/3. Okay, I'll join you, R2. Wow. All right, so not paying enough attention, but it looks like Crab on Diablo to trade with Crab on Superior side. Always get play to use Diablo to trade.
You're not paying attention? That's my job, bro. My job is to not do what I'm supposed to do.
Believe it or not, I'm paying more attention than you somehow.
Somehow.
This is nice. Yeah, Fox take out the room. This is a really good turn for Gabe, I think.
Yeah, kind of has needs. The problem is an Elsa is actually kind of rough, right? But not too bad.
I mean, he has to pull ahead in lore. Like if we go to the late game and it's close, I just don't.
You can't sit back.
It's
only 6 ink. Only 6 ink. So
yeah. So it's good.
What are you gonna do? Hades.
Superior had the TPO, but there was no other ramp here this game, so I think it's looking about as good as Gabe could hope. I think
he had another TPO. I think he inked it too, but
yeah, it's hard to play like multiple TPOs. You run out of cards pretty quick that way.
It's like you can use Fishbone Quill more than once, but double TPO is 4 cards.
It is 4 cards. I mean, he did get one card back out of it using a crab, but still.
I still don't get not popping broom. I don't remember. R2.
Last turn, yeah. Yeah. Maybe you've just been forgetful. If you're talking about last turn, if you're talking about last game, it was a weird, like, shortcutting. We went past the broom. Can't go back.
Oh, they were talking about earlier in this game, I think.
Yeah, I think it was questionable, too, for Superior Synergy to leave it in play, but...
See, it's an interesting thing because everyone's always like, people are cracking their brooms too soon.
It's
so
true.
then people are like, I'm supposed to leave it. But it's a fine dance.
It is very hard. It's one of the harder things to do, I think, in the game right now is figuring out what to do with these cards. When I say leave them in play, especially with Chernobyls, what I often mean is, like, don't do anything with them. But because some people think that you have to quest every turn, and then you're deciding whether or not to pop it. But, like, the hidden third mode is like just leave it in play.
2 turns. Yep.
Yeah.
It's like it's similar with like Lilos and Maleficents. I don't know how many times people are like, oh, I'm gonna quest with it. I'm like, well, they're just gonna challenge it. So it got 2 lore. You wait 3 turns, then quest with 5 things. Yeah, and then like they can't challenge them all. But if you quest every turn with 1 character, they're 1/3/3. Eats 3 1/1s, right? Like it's
for sure.
I could complain about things all day.
And you probably will.
My wife made a joke about that from the other room too.
Yeah, we just know you too well.
Oh, we turning in the followers now, or are we? Oh, we're trade that.
I actually think I agree with it.
10 lore.
Yeah, 10 lore. Like, you got to do something to come back in this
How
game.
many
And
cards?
Superior Synergy actually lost most of his crabs. So it's not like he was going to get
True.
way to trade up with it very easily. I mean, Gabe's already going to 13 this turn. You just got to buy time if you're the Blurple deck.
Going to 15 would be pretty scary. I don't like the play, but I would do it. Actually, I don't like the play because he could have challenged with his Genie. I think trying to race at this point, I disagree with. I think I would have maybe left one followers up and waited a turn.
Sure. Did he quest with Genie?
Yeah, he quested with Genie.
Okay, this is huge for Gabe.
Unless I blinked and he sang a song with it, but
I
don't think so.
I'm trying to look at chat. I don't know why, because I'm not even half the time reading it, but I can't. I don't have practice doing the streaming thing. I really should figure it out.
I know.
Yeah, that boost ball is huge. Taking out the Genie, leaving Superior with nothing in play. Like, even an Elsa here doesn't do enough.
Much. I mean, I think it is the start of what you need to do.
Yeah, but it's like, if I'm Gabe, I'm pretty happy about this.
It's like a Band-Aid over a missing limb. It's
because it doesn't remove any of these characters. Sure, it buys a turn, but you're still there. You still have to find a way.
Tinkerbell, Sing, Zeus. Come on.
Like, the Blurple deck famously has always been poor at dealing with wide boards, and so here we have a wide board. I just don't know how Superior gets out of this, especially with the go. Yeah, that's.
Yep.
Yeah, may as well quest. You've got characters threatened already anyway. May as well take the lore. And of course, like, the moment they deal with these rabbits, you're just getting more cards.
Oh, yep. Superior has seen enough.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. All right, so we're going to a game 3. Blurple versus Purple Steel. Blurple on the play. Yeah, I don't envy the situation for the Purple Steel player who has to somehow get to 20 before the Elsa start coming down and making it impossible. Unfortunate dice roll format. Yeah, Ed, I was looking at my record and my notes and stats the other day at like play versus draw stats, and I had an 18% disparity in matches based on the die roll in like 100 matches, which is just depressing that play versus draw is that important right now. It's not that different from what it used to be, but it's just brutal.
Yeah, JDZ's like, you fools. Just be as good as they were last week. Everyone on the draw won 2-1.
That's crazy. I mean, it happens, obviously. And especially, like, matchup can do a lot to come back. But if you get a poor matchup and lose the die roll, it does feel kind of impossible sometimes.
See, Banible's over here like, it's an 18% difference. He's got like a 90% on the play and a 70% on the draw. He's still winning every game.
They were pretty good numbers, but they were both above 60 still, but pretty scary.
And this is why I take his decks when he's like, hey, this is the version, play it. I'm like, yes. I'm just luckier than he is. That's the only difference.
That's true. If you saw his play, that's the only way he could have got there.
I mean, I would have just played Doc otherwise and probably lost, right?
But you did play Doc.
True. One. After bubbling with it in Vegas the event before, oh man.
Mm-hmm.
All the bubbles.
He just gets up and leaves?
Yeah. I'm a thirsty boy.
And you can't do it on camera?
Well, my sink is not on camera. I've got to get my water.
Oh, you had to go to your sink. I thought you were trying to deny the people their fetish content.
Yeah, Fumbles. Sadly, well, probably for the better. I have my alerts turned off for the streams, and I had them turned off before, but then after the LCCC stream where Meyer was like delayed and he had the fireworks going off the entire stream. Because people were just like, oh, I'll just unfollow, refollow over and over again to make this firework go off. So it's like they're just trolling the crap out of them. It's like, you know what? Let's better safe than sorry. Ink
right,
follower,
Spear.
play follower.
Yeah. It's not bad.
So do you think that means he's got a plethora of 1-drops or no other 1-drops?
I think it means he had at least 2.
Well, yes. So if he had a third, do you think he would have kept that so he could double 1 next turn? That's what I mean.
It depends. If he had a third and a sail, maybe he kept 2 and inked 1 so that he could sail play the other one. I feel like that's a better play.
Unwatchable.
Yeah.
The fireworks was unwatchable? I don't know. Well, look at this we got. Ink card, play same card. I mean, that's what I feel like when I play Green Steel and I'm inking a Baby Diablo. I'm like, yes, get this out of my deck.
That's why you don't play Baby Diablos.
See.
Look, there's a Baby Diablo for you.
I'm just going to assume he drew it. I mean, maybe triple 1-drop isn't actually that good, especially because of the broom counters.
So for the Blurple deck specifically, I think the turn 2 ramp is more important than multiple 1-drops. So I think that goes a long way toward explaining why they're getting inked. I mean, you really just want to get to your 4s as quick as you can.
If only it was a sail, so then he could have also committed.
That's what I was saying. Sail would be great. Spear, you're choosing to just leave his Chernobog in play. I kind of like questioning there, take my free lore. If Gabe wants to trade, I'm pretty happy with that. But
I was going to say, he's listening to what you said earlier, where he's like, you know what, I'm not going to allow it. I'm going to do it later.
There's no threat of a Fox here, so I probably take my lore and just leave it in play. And then
it could be, it's possible that he doesn't have ink. And he really wants to play a 4 or 5 on curve, and he's waiting a turn to see if he draws the ink before cashing it in. But that's probably just not right.
I was going to say very charitable of you, but it could be true. When you have TPO, you don't usually have to worry too much about inkables, because if you're super flooded and on inkables, you get to ink 1 with TPO, which is kind of nice.
Ed agrees with you.
That's because Ed knows what he's talking about.
Dave says you're silly, Billy. But it was actually saying he might be setting up for a library to draw 2, which is fair. Which is very fair.
I think that the purple deck's kind of the aggro here, and I would just be happy with the purple steel player is kind of the aggro here, and I'd just be happy with the trade, even if I had a library.
I mean, I would argue that if purple steals the aggro, wouldn't the library play be better because it gives you more? He's like, library's smibrary.
Apparently he disagrees. No, I mean, my concern with playing library is you get yourself in trouble playing library as the control deck a lot of times, because you play library, now you pop your Chernobog followers. You've actually taken away board presence instead of adding
Given away tempo.
And it can be a problem, like if, say, they play, I don't know, a fox or a crab, take out your library, and all of a sudden you're way behind on board. I do think that it can be a bit of a trap sometimes.
I think I'd agree with that. As Ed said in chat, it's like the best thing he probably could be doing is slamming Genie on 3.
I agree. I'd be trying to slam Genie as well. Especially since like my opponent can't play Genie till multiple turns later because you're on the play and had a TPO.
Yeah, you're Genie, and then you're Elsing before they're even playing a Genie. It's
right.
So White Rose is an interesting card. I played it as a 3-of in a very aggressive version of Steel Amethyst with like Maleficence, and it was all right.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
I was more happy with John Silver. Actually, I think I liked John Silver more.
I think it does. John Silver does a lot of work in an aggro deck.
Especially one about Smee.
The thing about more aggressive decks is I think you want a critical mass of reach, and I think if you're not going to put Gather in your deck because it's like uninkable and mostly bad. Um, it makes a lot of sense to start adding the White Rose. Although I much prefer the White Rose in decks that have friends.
Ed called this one from the stands. Dangerous to play Broom into turn 5.
Yeah.
Needed to draw a card off it there, I think, for sure.
Definitely is. But the thing is that I think the Elsa might have been good anyway. Trading for the Calhoun might have been a fine play. Like just trading Elsa plus Chernobog.
You would have
into Calhoun. Absolutely.
Okay, I was gonna say you would have done it that way instead.
Would I have traded my Chernobog for Calhoun? Yeah, without even thinking about it, for sure.
I mean, I guess you're just giving your rabbit away, right? And
yeah. So
my brain's off for a second. He covered up the other card. I forgot what it was. Oh, it's a rose. So rabbits die. Rabbits being banished no matter what. There.
It is, but yeah, Calhoun. I don't know. It can be annoying for sure.
I mean, it's gonna get eaten most likely by an Elsa if Gabe doesn't bounce it, but that seems mid-ish, but maybe worth it. I just assume he's gonna play a Genie, but I don't even really like that much either.
I think a rabbit's fine too.
I mean, rabbits. It's just so slow.
You gotta do something.
I mean, I also played cannons, which I know I was very low to the ground. I think Genie was my only card that cost more than 3, and I ran 3 of them. Because I was just like 16, 21 drops a dock. Let's go. Let's go.
That's basically what I played last weekend at Set Champs and lost. So
didn't even get a scar.
No, I did horrible. So it was 20. I think 21 players showed up. 10 of them played Purple Steel. And then there were like 3 Steel Song players there. So obviously I did not have a very fun day playing Hyper Aggro Doc.
Got, like, you want streamer mode back? Do we want to play where hands are revealed? The problem with the streamer mode, while it is much better for us, it does allow for the ability to cheat if we don't delay the stream.
Yeah.
And I think delaying the stream is just really not what we want to do.
It's also like kind of a hassle too for the players. I don't really like using it.
Well, you wouldn't know that compared to Ed, since he's actually played in things with.
Wow.
I also wouldn't know because I was not in. Neither of us got voted into the LCCCC. I did not win my event in time. I needed to win it before the voting.
Shame. See, it turns out they just lie. People just lie about liking me. They don't really like me because when it comes to a popularity contest time, I don't get voted in.
Didn't vote for you. You just didn't tell people to vote for you like a few people might have.
Well, I did. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think I deserved to be there, so pretty easy.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I put a reminder on my stream that like every 30 minutes when I did my squats, it was like also vote for me and your favorite players here, and it had the link, you know. But I wasn't. There were people that did giveaways that you had to like vote for them to sign up for, and that's pretty. I'm not.
Yeah, it was. Honestly, my preference would have been if Pavel had just taken suggestions and chosen the players himself, but I digress. I think for the most part the teams came out
great though,
reasonably close to what they should have been. And
I mean, I'm just complaining because I didn't get picked. I thought it was a great lineup on both teams. It was fantastic.
It was a good event. It was super fun. And I think maybe something like it might happen again. Pavel had maybe mentioned, so that'd be pretty cool. Until then, you have to suffer us, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if it works without a hitch, we have permission to use it, and all of the teams agree. I could easily see doing it without a delay, but letting us see their hands. But I digress. It looks like Synergy is doing A-okay this game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty good spot to be in. I mean, Genie can always run away with the game, but
Yeah, but the Elsa's there, so like
I know. And
one
the
of them
crab.
is probably gonna have a crab. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Superior already has the
Oh,
crab on board. Yeah, that's pretty big. Yeah. It's that time of the game where Superior's superior cards kind of
has
make it not
superior
fair.
cards.
Well,
Superior Synergy has superior cards.
he does at this stage of the game for sure. You're not terribly afraid of one more ink either. All right, Lawrence, Calhoun. It's just not going to be enough. When your opponent's playing Hades and you're like, 3-drop, 2-drop, go.
Yep. Well,
It does.
I
Yeah,
mean, did he bounce rabbit with that snake? If there's no more rabbits or genies, there's a chance. But if Superior is sitting on cantrip 4-drops, the game's probably done.
Yep. Possibly, even if not, because we haven't gotten to 8 ink yet, so there could be some Elsas in there. It's just...
Well, it's like, yeah, if there's an Elsa, it's probably also rough. Or another Hades. But, oh, well, there goes Lawrence. I was just thinking that Lawrence plus Calhoun take down Hades, and that's fair.
I'm curious what you... I'm not sure what I would exert here. I'd probably just sit and think about it.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you only go after if you go after Calhoun, they still take Hades. So now you just, I would not have done that. But that tells me that there is an Elsa in his hand. Anyway.
I think like if you have card advantage, just clearing up the board and cementing your advantage is not bad.
Couldn't he just put 4 damage on the Elsa and take out and keep his snake? Because
yeah.
I think I would have much. I mean, I guess he didn't want
Calhoun
too lore. I guess
Yeah.
That makes sense. It was just to play around Calhoun.
It's probably better, but if you're worried, like if your hand is so good, like this can happen, where your hand is so good that you just like don't want to leave any way back in, and if you're worried, like okay, what about like Calhoun, goat, like I don't know, maybe the 2 lore's worth it.
When you see plays that seem greedy's the wrong word, or just like overly cautious, it's normally because they think they have it wrapped up and they're trying to do anything. Like when I played strength on a Cinderella, it's because I thought the only way I could lose the game was Cindy Stouthearted, and apparently I just misread the deck list and they didn't even have it in their deck. But
Maurice is bigger brain than both of us, and he was like, I'm playing around Tinkerbell and Calhoun at the same time.
That Tinkerbell would have been pretty hot, actually, to take out the Elsa there.
Yep. The Elsa and the... Well, yeah. Genie, draw some cards. A card. Ink and Bell.
I don't know if I agree with
yeah, I mean, gotta get that Donald in play, baby.
I think I would have just inked the Donald.
I think this is superior synergy saying, my hand is so good you can't win.
I'm just gonna quest. Yeah, like it's got to be an Elsa next turn. I mean, I guess if you're not going to use the bell and you're just going to quest, playing Donald is probably fine. I assume Elsa comes down, locks down Calhoun, locks down Tinkerbell. We quest for 7, and then they take on one of our characters, maybe 2, and then we quest for 5 and we win.
I think if you're thinking about inking one of Bell or Donald to play the other, it makes sense to ink the Bell to play the Donald.
Yeah. The 1 damage does nothing.
Yep.
It's interesting that they had the option to put 4 damage on Elsa with a bell in hand and opted to leave it fully clean.
Last game, and it worked out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess play around that one of. They don't know it's a one of, so
yeah. I think it makes a lot of sense in that context.
Superior is going to use his winnings from this to buy a new webcam.
There are winnings?
Yeah. $0.
That is...
There's no money on the line. Just
I didn't think you could buy webcams with kudos.
With clout, maybe.
With clout?
Go to the clout store.
I
just want the winner to say I'm going to Disneyland. His camera's definitely getting worse as this game goes on. His computer's like, we're not going to let you win. We're going to fail before it's done.
I'm just waiting for like some scary image to pop up. Jump scare me.
Please, no. I would scream like a little girl.
All right, let's see if Gabe has any way out of this.
It's a lot of characters hiding in that library.
Now, as a noted non-coward, I probably would have exerted all my characters there.
As a notable non-coward.
Yeah. The thing is that, like, then the thing about library...
What's the point of the library?
In general, right? Like, one of the things they can do, even if the card isn't going to survive, is they can force your opponent to choose between challenging your characters or the location. You know, I guess they get to get your Donald,
your stuff
but
either way.
4 more for it.
They're getting the Donald and the Genie.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a really big turn for Gabe.
Yeah.
And, like, so if he quested with both characters, right, we'd be in the same spot, but Superior would have 15 lore, which is, like, a pretty big difference.
Yes.
But
is Synergy on no cards in hand, but the one they drew?
No.
No, he's shuffling his hand, so it has to be more than one.
Yeah, I think that he maybe tried to play too safe, and it turns out, you know, if your play isn't safe against like one card from your opponent, maybe you have to press your advantage. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, bouncing Hades with a Fox seems pretty good.
It is good. But he could just be at
I think you
18 lore or whatever.
Take down the rabbit and then Hades the Calhoun.
Maybe the Elsa. I kind of like the Elsa here.
Yeah, since the Calhoun has to trade, that's fair. Yeah, 5 lore. I was thinking it was the other way around. I might have done it, but even
yeah.
Well, you don't want the Elsa cleaning up your Elsa.
Right. Basically, your Elsa's dead on board if you leave their Elsa.
I mean, that's probably why he didn't quest with Hades. He already had the bounce, maybe?
I still like questing. But you know me. I quest more aggressively than most people do, so it's...
I mean, you have to quest to win.
You do. And I think that an underrated element of skill in Lorcana is just, like, knowing when to put your foot on the gas and just, like, hold it there. Because he let his foot up and kind of gave Gabe a door back into a game that he basically had won, so...
Yeah, he could have gone up to 18, bounced the Hades and replayed it, and then had
lethal inboard with the Hades, but also like the Fox. And yeah, your opponent would have more characters in play, but like that goat would have been lethal. Okay, well, yeah, I mean,
alright, brah, alright, goat.
Well, if I had even one of those goats, I would not have even thought for a moment about whether or not to quest. Let's put it that way. My
I'm
hand was like,
assuming
fuck
one of
to
them
go.
was drawn.
Still. Anyway, it's probably not going to matter at this point because now Gabe has to basically deal with every single character in play this turn, and I don't know how likely that is with 6 ink. Yeah, the moment these goats quest, it's over.
Oh man. So we've gone past time, but there was a judge ruling, so they might have given an extension, but this game could go to a draw, actually.
Wait. We're timing... Oh, yeah.
These are timed rounds. They're an hour. So that is more than a normal best of 3, which is 50.
Well...
We had to make a decision between either allowing people to just take 2 hours to play their match and be slow, or allow occasional draws to create scenarios. And at first I was kind of against it, but while we could have a draw for the match, if it was like 2-0, 1-1, 2-1, we haven't really talked, but technically they have more game wins. But that's how I would input it. Like, technically who won the game wouldn't matter. Oh, let's see.
Well, assuming SSG had another turn there, he did take the dub.
All right. If you wanted to unmute yourself in Discord so we can ask them some questions, and I will...
It felt like good games, so I'm not
complaining. Yeah, definitely. We had some interesting standstills there. Then.
I just realized that I had Brave sounds on that entire
really
time.
Came in clutch for you, though.
So they should have heard you twice, and they never said
it ramps you
a
back
single
up and
thing
you
about
up to me, where I kind of lose my advantage as the purple deck. But I didn't have a nice way to take that out, and that genie was going to sit there for too long. So I was like, I have to just bite the bullet and hit it now.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, go for it.
I think if you wouldn't have done that, I could have raced you. I mean, the double goat I wasn't expecting, but...
Yeah, I was hanging onto that goat for way too long. Every time you asked me how many cards, there's always a goat sitting in hand. And that turn that you played the Tinkerbell, I was like, oh man, currently with what's on board, I just need to quest out and then goat bounce. And I drew into the bounce, but then all of a sudden you wiped too much stuff off my board.
Yeah, I had a Strength and Raging Fire, like, in hand. I had 2 in hand. Like, I played the one, like, turn 3 or 4. Or turn 4 or 5. And I had the other one, and I could not find a good spot for it. Like, every time I thought, like, I would have it, your thing would be 1 willpower too much, and I would be like, shoot, can't do it this turn.
Yeah, I tried to play around the strength as much, where I'd either, like, not put out a genie because I know a genie just dies to strength, or I just start going wide on myself and then try and start taking trades to get the strength power down, but...
Yeah.
It was a lot to play around.
Yeah, it was definitely a crazy match.
It was a lot of fun.
Go for it.
Me? You want me to lead? Oh, God.
Yeah. You're going to have to do it without me here in a second. It'll be just you and JDZ.
All right, I'll lead on. I'll grill Superior Synergy. The turn you played Library at the end there, why didn't you quest?
I wasn't really thinking about that Tink and him being able to use the Elsa to exert stuff. I should have quested. It was a huge misplay on my part, and as soon as that Elsa came down, I'm like, uh-oh, I might have just completely threw this game.
Did you have, like, a goat in hand at that point?
I had a goat in hand, and then I drew into the bounce, too, on the following turn. So, yeah, the right move was to quest for sure.
I was curious. I mentioned that I probably would have quested there. I did call myself a notable non-coward. But...
Yeah, I was playing it a little too safe, and that comes to bite you in the butt sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, it worked out in the end, obviously, but... And you did have a pretty big lead, so it wasn't that big of a deal. It was interesting, because one of the nice things about locations is that you can kind of apply pressure on two fronts, and then they have to choose whether they take your characters or the location. But it can be hard to do both sometimes. So obviously the Elsa there was very good, but could have gone to 15. Probably would have still had Hades then. Yeah. Anyway, it's good game. I think that
It's almost in time, right? Were you in turns yet?
We were on turn 1 or 2 there, yeah, in turns.
Oof. People got to remember to play fast. I know you did.
I mean, yeah, that's why we're all calling our games pretty early on. Like,
yep,
we're quitting real early.
I was gonna say you had what, a minute extension from the judge call earlier, I assume, or something of the sort.
I would assume so.
They did, yes.
Was
Nice.
was that just a shortcutting thing? Did you like put the Elsa into play exerted? Is that what happened there basically?
Yeah, I got in my head like looking up and down from my monitor and my mat. I'm not used to, I've played like 3 games on webcam in
Yeah,
my
it can be
life,
hard.
so I missed the broom trigger. I challenged first.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what I thought.
challenged
happened.
as I was banishing my broom.
So from the purple steel side, I guess I'm curious. How do you feel about the Blurple matchup?
Oh, I was pretty sure that it would be the worst matchup.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm actually really happy to have taken a game, so and for them not to have been blown out.
Yeah, every
I haven't
game
played
matters.
hmm
Go for it. You're saying?
Yeah, I haven't played, like, this was my first match ever against Purple with Purple Steel.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, the first game looked a little rough at first, but it ended up being pretty closer than I thought it was going to be after the first few turns. So, yeah, well played.
yeah, I think there's like no way I beat like Ramp into Genie into like Elsa Bell.
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah, like Elsa Bell, Shift Elsa, like there's just too much Giga Tempo.
All right. Well played. Getting a game for the Ink Thieves. We got a little ad starting up, and we're gonna get some more people up in here. So you two have a great night and good showing.
Thanks for hosting.
Thank you.
Always. All right. Oh,
Yeah.
it
Just
might have
ruin it.
because I didn't have the Brave sound. I had my web browser sounds on, so apparently we were hearing Derek twice, but I didn't realize it. So one day we'll get it right. All right. Well, I'm gonna go hide in the booth, and I'm gonna bring out the one, the only JDZ.
Air horns. Yo, Luke, thank you so much for bringing me back. I'm on this side. I gotta rotate this way
gotta
now.
move.
I don't know if
I gotta move. I gotta change up everything. You know, you got me on the right side of the house, but it does feel good to be back. Thank you for allowing me to get another opportunity here at the ICL. I was in the green room watching another fantastic match go down. It was lots of fun. High profile Lorcana. What is better? Bannable, it's a pleasure to meet you. I haven't had the opportunity to work with you. I'm looking forward to doing this.
I'm already intimidated by how much energy you have.
Hey, you gotta lock in, man. It is Friday, okay? We got some high profile Lorcana action. You guys gotta turn the energy up, okay? Let's shake it off. It's Friday. We got nothing to do. We're locked in. We're laser focused. Okay, and we got some games coming our way. We got another incredible match. The Ink Thieves already took round number 1. I believe we got their captain coming in to fight up in round number 2. And he's gonna be playing against a player. Do you know the player? I can't pronounce the name, and I'm not gonna try. So I'll just wait and let you say it, and then I'll just copy what you say.
Well, I would, but I didn't prep for this match because I wasn't sure if I was going to be casting it. So I don't even know who's playing or what decks they're playing. If my producer could maybe get on that.
Hey, this is live. This is live TV. So even if you don't know, you got to fake it till you make it. Be like, you know what? I'll let you guys figure out at home until, you know.
We'll leave it a mystery.
we'll let it be a mystery. But still, I'm going to be excited. I have seen the decks. I'm not going to divulge too much, but we could see some some spicy includes coming in for this round number 2. And maybe we can get some parity. We have seen a lot of sweeps take place in the first few rounds of this tournament so far, and maybe we can finally get a game 3 that is going to determine the outcome of the event. I'd like to see that myself, honestly.
Yeah, I think that'd be nice. I mean, luckily we went to game 3, in match 1 here. But yeah, I agree. Getting a 3-way sweep for the entire set is
right. Yeah, because
you don't want people to go home feeling like, oh man, my team, we got absolutely trounced.
Yeah, and it's happened a few times, and no one wants to get that broom put on them. It always feels terrible. It does feel bad because these two teams, usually it's like a lot of camaraderie and a lot of have fun, but these guys kind of had some words. They were kind of chopping it up a little bit, and from what I heard, there is a for your hair match happening in round number 3, so there are some stakes on the line for this one. So we need to lock in and pay attention and see what is exactly going to happen. I'm not sure what's happening. I think the players might be locking in and getting ready. I'm pulling mine up. I think I can see. No, they're still setting up in the interim, but I don't know. We don't really have. I don't want to divulge too much information about the deck list either, because I think that would start to provide a type of unfair advantage. But I think the players are getting ready. Production team, are we ready? Are we locked in? Are we ready to go?
It's like Tall Man's got his ranch sunflower seeds ready to go.
Yep. Okay. Those mats though. I love the team. What is esprit de corps? I would say. What's the word I'm looking for? And they're able to represent themselves and represent their organizations. They got their mats. They got the sunflower Illumineers on the right. You got the Ink Thieves on the left. It looks pretty cool. And that Ink Thieves mat is nice. I kind of want to join the Ink Thieves, so I get one of those myself. Looks pretty dope. It's kind of got the colors busting out. You guys will see it here in a second when we pull it up, but it looks pretty dope. I like it a lot.
You have to cozy up to Tall Man, see if you can get yourself one of those play mats.
Yeah, I'm about to give me an Ink
last
Thieves.
time Ink Thieves played, I don't want to rub it in too much, but Labyrinth did 3-0 them.
Is that fact?
And I did play. So
were you a part of the massacre? I mean, the Labyrinth team is a little OP. You guys are quite strong, and I think
there are some good players on there, and me.
I think you guys got a little OP, but being the strong powerhouse of the organization, being the powerhouse of the league, a lot of people are going to be shooting for you guys. So you got to watch yourself. As we got I think we're trying to focus the camera, trying to flex the ranch jumbos, letting them know maybe it's a sponsorship thing. Maybe he's got. Okay. Oh, I get it. Yeah. I get it. He's trying to say, hey, we're going to crunch some seeds here as he's preparing to shuffle and get the altar phase going in. Yo, I'm ready for this. I like a little bit of edge, not too much edge to where it's toxic and borderline, mean-spirited, but a little bit of edge kind of makes it a little bit more How do
you feel about playing with sleeves with your face on them?
That is a little, I think that's a little narcissistic, a little bit. That's a bridge a bit too far, but I can't hate because they do look cool, and maybe they were some type of gift, I would assume. But if you sent that IMG into the sleeve creator and had those made for yourself, I think that's a bit much. I think you got to dial that back a little bit.
I don't know. I know Manny. There's a solid 75% chance he made those for himself.
I don't think that's okay. I think that is something that might get you canceled here. If you're sending that JPEG into that sleeve company and saying, "Hey, print this onto the sleeves. Oh, by the way, it's a picture of myself." I think that's a bit too far. But I can't hate. Tallman Purple does do his thing, so I'm not hating. But that's just my own natural opinion. My first inclination. Maybe we'll have to get Tom. I'll write it down and see how those things came to be. And then I'll make my snap of judgment at the end of this contest. But it looks like we're trying to get some focus happening here. Focus is complete. We got the camera as a paid actor. They're going down. Round number 1 says the Portal RJ. They're going down. We're calling another sweep. I think.
Wow.
I think the Ink Thieves are calling their number and saying this is going to be another sweep as the sunflowers are about to get plucked here, is what they're saying. So I don't know. I'm not making this up. I'm just quoting the information that I'm reading from the chat, as we're going to get a virtual fist bump and we're going to be ready to take this thing off. So everyone go ahead and adjust your seat back to the upright lock position. And there it is. We got the spice already as Minnie Mouse has hit the field. What are we doing here? Wait a minute. Hold up now. We're inking in the front and playing in the back. What are we doing there? What's happening there? What are your thoughts there?
I think that's more BM.
Yeah, that's a bannable offense. I think that's a get out of the league type. That's a get out of the league type thing. We might need to talk to the commissioner. We need to get Gaston in here and be like, hey, address this. We're not doing that.
All right, we've got aggressive starts on both sides here.
As we'll ink, so both players revealing both of their colors right away. As we have the green purple, aka amethyst emerald, versus the amber steel. We ink the Ursula, play out the Merfolk, ink the Mini, play the Daisy. So Mini might say something about some locations coming your way. As Towel Man might need to send his hand back a little bit because he is revealing a little bit of classified information. As we'll ink another location. What is that? We got the Underworld, I believe.
I think so. Flipping a library on the other side with Daisy's ability.
Okay.
No card draw there.
I'm behind a little bit. Let me get back over here. There it is. There it is. And we'll play the Piglet. We'll ink the Ursula. Probably seeing no value of the Ursula in this particular matchup, as we'll quest the Cursed Merfolk for 2. Man, this is going to be an interesting bout. Who do you think is going to be favored in this location Amber Steel versus the green Amber deck?
I'm not sure. So it's interesting to see the Ursula inked because, traditionally against Amber Steel, Ursula is the sort of card you want to keep in your Amethyst Emerald deck, but choosing instead to protect the Cursed Merfolk. As far as who's favored, I think it's difficult to say. I don't have the list in front of me. I think a traditional Amber Steel list, I would probably take them, but Manny likes to bring the spice of this location, so I really have no idea. Locations traditionally not super great against Amethyst decks. Fox, Crab tend to be very strong against locations. We have a Baloo. Whoa, okay. Manny's just like...
Oh, yeah. We're deep. Manny, the TMP is deep into the spice bag here as we're full on location. And now we have this bodyguard. So your deck is basically, looks like it's a hyper aggro deck with location support. So maybe if you can get some of those location downs, establish the John Silver, you can just put 20 on there before a blink of an eye as he's trying to figure this thing out on the fly. As Mason's trying to figure this thing out en route. And you got a lot of problems on the opposite side of the board, and this is getting kind of tough. You're already at 7. Holy,
we got to get Kit off the Daisy trigger, which I think is going to help a lot here. Kit can bounce the Baloo without giving any ink, and then we can challenge down the Piglet, which is pretty strong, or ink lore, which is pretty strong here.
And he does just that as the Kit is going to come on down and send the Baloo back, and we'll be able to quest in or challenge in freely into the Pooh Piglet Pirate. And just like that, you've maintained a little bit of parity in the play, and you're going to kick it back on over to Towel Man Purple.
It's an interesting spot because this Daisy could challenge down the Snake. If you've got a Rapunzel in hand, that's a pretty strong play. You can draw 3 cards. So, Mason is in the game, but it's not exactly what you want to be doing. It's definitely a little bit risky.
Absolutely. But maybe Mason knows a little bit more about this strategy than what they're leading on, and know what some cards that TMP might have in and some cards that they might not. You've inked another location, but you're going to actually play a John Silver with no location. Another Daisy Duck hits the fray, and let's see if we go in for a challenge, and we will do just that. So we will set that Daisy Duck up for a potential Rapunzel, but if you had it, you probably would have played it on that turn. And now let's see if Kit is going to be able to exchange with this Rapunzel.
It's a very aggressive start for Manny. 7 lore already. We've got a pile of potential lore in play. You never know with the John Silver. It's really scary, even when your opponent has no locations in play. You don't know how many they can play next turn. He plays 2 locations, and all of a sudden, it's a very hard game to win.
The game might just be unwinnable. So, but he did ink in Mason's favor. He has already inked multiple locations already, so maybe there's a chance there's not a lot of low-cost locations, as we will get another bounce back on this Kit. So this is a pretty powerful play, as you'll be able to deploy the Kit again in future turns, and you have this pretty staunch and robust Madam Mim Fox. So playing 2 locations here might be the ticket, but if you cannot, you might be in trouble. But if you just put that Kit down to the inkwell,
it's a little bit awkward. I wonder if he's maybe having ink trouble because you don't necessarily want to be playing Fox and sort of taking away your board position against the aggro deck here. And obviously, Cursed Merfolk's not going to do a lot to stem the bleeding, so it makes me wonder what Mason has in hand. It might not be ideal.
As we will go ahead and ink yet another location. It's funny, he's using the locations like it's lands. If it's Magic the Gathering, he's like actually putting locations in the inkwell and then just playing the cards. As we get a powerful dock here, the docketing will answer as you get 2 more free cards from the deck. Baloo, Doc, Daisy, and John Silver with no locations is the field. and we'll just probably pass here with 2 in hand, or are we going to go on a mighty quest and feed that fox? I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, especially if you draw locations, you're questing for one with John Silver's kind of giving up lore. You can kind of get it back next turn if you have got a location you can play. And Daisy's awkward in these mid-game situations where you're not close to 20 lore, because you don't necessarily want to give them cards if you're not going to be winning the next couple turns.
Especially in this Amber Amethyst deck, it plays so many characters that Daisy is always pretty much going to plus to your opponent, and they're not just getting little weenies; they're probably getting pretty beefy guys that can come down and challenge down your board back. So I don't hate the not questing. Maybe set up a nice size board, top deck some more locations, put them in, and then start questing. I think that might be the play.
Yeah, the fact that we didn't put blue in bodyguard mode, I think, was a pretty good signal that the Tallman didn't want to quest there.
Okay, so now we will bounce another fox, and we got another kit going down into the inkwell, as we'll make another cursed merfolk, double dip the chip, double dip the merfolk, as maybe you can start trying to challenge and quest at the same time, and maybe you can get back into this game. But still, I think it's a pretty even game state at this current spot, as now Tallman Purple gets a refresh.
I had sent it Ed, quested with both, and put my blue in bodyguard mode. But once you stood the blue up, it starts to get pretty awkward. That's all right. It's got all his characters here, and then threatening at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 lore on board, 2 more with the blue, 7. It's like effectively 14 lore for Tallman.
Yeah, if he can spam some locations here, he's going to be in a good spot. And there's one coming down. The Pride Lands has hit the play, and let's see if there's more coming in, or will you move some characters over to that Pride Land and spam with more characters, get some more glimmers out there, as they're called in these city streets sometimes. Glimmers. Fun fact. There you go. Quest all glimmers. Let's see if that happens. Glimmer. I'm gonna start saying glimmer.
Take a think, but
and we'll play a Captain Hook here, and no other cards. Maybe you move one and put something out for free, perhaps.
I'm curious, like what you move over. I think if you're worried about kit, but I think Mason's inked 2 kits already, so I'm not sure how much you're worried about that at this point. But yeah, if you're worried about kit, I think moving the blue is a rough choice. I think maybe the other 2 might be better. But if you think there's no kit, then moving the blue makes a lot of sense.
Right, you will get that health boost. Your willpower will increase with the Pride Land. So now blue's sitting at a nice chunky 5. So the one fox can't take it out solo, and you'll have to waste 2 challenges in order to, unless never mind, you got that bounce now. So that kind of changes things. You could, in theory, take down the blue and maybe another character and kind of stem the bleeding. I think you got to take down quite a few characters here, as 7 is not that
really
much.
hard spot. Even with 2 foxes in play, there's just so much effective willpower on Tallman's side of the board. He almost needs a Cloud Kicker here on the blue to have any chance, I think.
Yeah, this looks pretty, but he does have, so he has 1 fox, 2 fox, bounce, 3 fox, 1 fox, 2 fox, 3 fox more. He can get a triple foxing right here, and maybe that can I don't know if that's going to be enough. So you can probably take down the blue, you'll lose that lore. You can take down a Daisy and hope that's enough. Perhaps.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, with an ink, if you had another fox, you could potentially play 4 foxes or challenge with 4 foxes this turn. But even that, it's just like the blue is going to get 2 lower at some point. There's kind of no way around it, whether it's this turn, next turn, whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
So we're going for that play. It looks like, no, we're going after the Pride Lands here, just to remove that, and then we will play that 3rd fox. Okay. Look at that.
So we could play a 4th fox here if, or play another fox bounce, something, probably a Curse Merfolk and challenge again, which is actually pretty strong.
Oh, he keeps the foxes going, doing a huge fox mambo, as we're going to go back forth with foxes all around, and electing to keep those Curse Merfolks up active. Maybe we'll quest them here, because you do have to figure out a way to try to win this game, as you will send the quest in for 4 and roll that way with it. I don't hate this play.
I kind of like leaving the 3 foxes in play and bring back a Curse Merfolk, but it should be okay. I mean, when you've got 1 fox in play, you effectively have as many as you want, or sorry, in your hand. There's no need to have 2 foxes in your hand, in my opinion.
He's probably trying to keep that Fox Mambo train rolling.
Yeah, but you've got it rolling even with one in hand. So
okay, just keep bouncing. A little Fox shuffle, a little tango.
Yeah, Ed, having one Fox in hand makes sense. Having two, I guess. Wait, does he only have one in hand?
I think so. I think he inked the snake. He had the snake. That was his other bounce, and then he had a Fox.
He bounced 2 foxes, so he's got 2 foxes in hand, but he doesn't. He only has 1 fox in hand. That's just me being dumb. That makes sense. Yeah. No, I think you're right. It does make a lot of sense. For some reason, I thought there were 4, but we challenged with 4, but there were only 3.
I mean, if Towelman can find 2 locations he would need right now, I think he could just win. So he obviously doesn't have 2 locations in hand, or he would just be able to slam and spam out of here. As we will just go on a hardy quest again, go up to that 18, it appears, and then play 2 more characters and say, do something about it. So you need that Elsa, the 5th spirit right now. You need something that can engage with ready characters right now, or the game will come to an immediate screeching halt. Excuse me.
It's been an interesting game for sure.
Oh yeah, and I like the spice. You don't really see too many location decks, especially coming to a high profile contest. When everyone's out here watching, people like to stick to the don't go chasing waterfalls. They say they just stick to the rivers that you're used to and bring your main thing. But coming out to the ICL, bringing a little bit of spice, maybe there's some gamesmanship there. Maybe your opponent is not going to be aware of what you're trying to cook, and it might be too late, as this deck's super aggressive. And he seemed like he got to 18 almost immediately. So I think there might be something to that.
It's true. You only see location decks from Towelman. Towelman does love his location deck, so
okay.
I'm not personally surprised, but it's
okay. I might be mistaken. Okay, I'll have to do my preparation a little bit more.
No, there's no reason anyone would know that. I just happen to know. But it's funny because he's always loved his various location decks. He's played stuff like this. I think maybe some Ruby Amber location stuff in the past as well.
Okay. I think people need to start experimenting with these locations, man. I think you can always lose to a location from time to time. You'll never see it coming. As here, you dig into the Elsa the 5th spirit, it's out. You found it.
Yep,
and you're able to. That's exactly what you needed right there. And you're going to be able to tap down one of these ready characters, but is it going to be enough?
Probably not, because you still need something else. That's the problem. Like, you can only leave one character in play.
Yeah, and I don't think you can.
I don't know.
We could tap down. And what did the Fox take?
I'm trying to think of what the answer would have been. I don't have the list in front of me, but it's hard to imagine a card that would have gotten the Emerald Amethyst player out of this situation.
He would need like a fire cannon or something. It's like a card that he can't even play.
I'm not trying to think of a card they might play, which is I don't know.
Maybe another kit. Another kit could have been cool, or I'm not sure. I think.
Yeah, the thing is, we know he doesn't have kit because he inked them both, and he would have played one last turn for sure if he had it. But yeah, off the top, a kit would have been pretty good for sure.
We got an ink. What do we got for 2? And it is the snake. So we're going to go ahead and reluctantly toss the GGs over probably. And we're going to be prepared to go into a game number 2. Probably just trying to do your last doest of diligence before you concede here, because the game lethal damage is on board, and we'll just quest out and get a chunky 2 and go ahead and proceed to the next game. I still think that was cool. Good match. Good game. Cool decks.
I think that that game goes very differently if Mason goes first. Towelman is kind of barely able to crawl across the finish line there at the end.
And now the cat's out of the bag. So now Mason should have a little bit more information of how they want to approach this matchup, and maybe you'll see things be inked a little bit different, or maybe he was just bricked incredibly and couldn't continue to play without putting those cloud kickers down into the inkwell. I'm not sure, but we're going to find out here soon.
It seems like the sort of thing that might happen if you are stuck on inkables. Although he didn't end up playing that many on inkables. I guess maybe the Christmas folks were clogging up his hand and just didn't have a lot of choices. Like, do I ink my Kit or do I ink my Fox? Because Fox is also quite good in the matchup. If you're worried about locations. I mean, Kit, much worse against locations than Fox is, so it's a tough choice to make if you're sitting out like Chris Merfolk.
So JDZ's not going to be able to hear this, but this is for you.
All right, so we are preparing for the second game. Shuffling is going down. It is underway. Man, oh man, I think you got to lean on those foxes. There are a lot of locations. I'm looking at the deck list now, and there are a ton of locations in this deck, and they don't have a lot of willpower to them. So keeping those foxes, I think, might be mission critical. I think and maybe you could just try to race. I mean, you kind of got pretty far along yourself before things spiraled out of control. So maybe you can hit the gas pedal, conserve your foxes and crabs, take down those locations. Oh wow, this deck's got a little wrinkle to it too. There's some cool stuff in both of these decks. So I'm sure you guys will see these decks on Twitter, or maybe after this round is over, you guys can check them out. Oh, we got don't go chasing waterfall. I like that. People, I don't know what. No, I'm kidding. What was that? The other guys, when the guy was talking about making TLC references and didn't know what song it was from. That was pretty good.
I'm not gonna lie, you've lost me.
You don't know who TLC is?
I know what TLC is. I don't know what you're talking about.
Chasing Waterfall is the other guy. It's the movie with Will Ferrell. It's pretty funny. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. But there's a scene in the movie where the police commissioner guy is like referencing TLC like the whole movie or whatever. And it gets to the point where they're like, you gotta know what you're doing. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm just, making normal conversation, but he's making all these TLC references. Anywho, moving on, and we'll go ahead and jam the Ursula into the inkwell and play the Diablo. A little bit of this and a little bit of that before we pass back on over to TMP. And as we, oh my goodness,
has up his sleeve for this game. I'm really curious. Playing a location deck versus the Fox Crab deck is always a tough spot to be in. So now that it's on the draw, it might be an uphill battle.
It's always kind of scary, yeah, because you got a guy that's at 4. He could just knock out half your stuff. We'll ink the mini again and go back into the Daisy Duck. So basically a repeat of exactly what you did in round number 1, and then now you're going to be doing the same thing in round number 2. I got to ask about this ink above play situation. Can you actually do that? Like, is that something you can do?
I don't know if you can. I think in like DLCs you actually can't do that. Interestingly enough. But
okay,
I could be wrong.
Okay. I have to ask.
The big thing in Magic for a while, and whether or not that was allowed, and eventually I believe in Magic they denied you the ability to put your lands in front of your other cards. So wouldn't surprise me if Lorcana has done the same.
So I'm checking the chat, and there are several people who have not seen the other guys, and there are several people who have seen the other guys.
I haven't seen the other guys.
You have not seen the other guys. You guys are missing. It's a pretty funny movie. It's a funny movie. I laughed. I cried. You know what I'm saying? As we'll bring out the Calhoun, we'll be able to check this snake. I think that's a nice little interaction there. If you go into the Daisy, you can take back or something like that. We'll see how it goes, as we're going to be on the approach now. We got 2. What are we going to put into the inkwell? Movie's great.
J-Bong says he inks above in DLCs. Really? I could have sworn that you weren't allowed to do that, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. Is it just to tilt your opponent? Because I'm tilting it. I'm not even playing.
Well, some people do. That's the thing. Like it was. Because some people don't like it, and I know like playing your cards upside down is another thing I think you can't.
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong.
That's another that happened to me at one of the DLCs I attended, and my opponent would play the cards upside down, and for some reason that tilted me too. Maybe my tilt factor needs to get addressed. I think I just tilt.
You got to work on your mental.
Yeah, that's what I
have to say.
I need to seek a psychologist or something. I don't know, sports psychologist. Take I don't know. We'll figure it out. But just be normal, okay? Don't be weird when you're playing me. Just be regular. I don't need any of the weird stuff. All right.
J-Bomb saying so no one can accuse you of swapping your hand with your inkwell because your inkwell is way far away from your hand, which maybe makes some sense. Also, like you could just not put your hand in your inkwell, but what do I know?
Okay. As we're holding on to 3, we will jam another location into the inkwell. And it looks like we're thinking about what we want to deploy here, or if we want to challenge.
Pulling your cards upside down is telling your opponent that you don't think that they know what your cards do. But like, what if I don't know what my opponent's cards do? Maybe it's convenient. I actually don't mind if people do weird stuff, but
and you could just maybe read it a little bit easier. That's cool. Yeah. I guess that does make sense. That's being kind.
It's a little bit BM. I get it.
Or another thing that tilts me as we get another draw and another ink was people if you challenge, right, and you exert to the left, or if you quest, you exert to the right. When you're mixing it up and you're doing alternate things, that also tells me keep it all the same way. Like if you're exerting one way and challenging one way, and things are just all over cattywampus, dude, get that out of here. Fix yourself and just get them all the same direction. There it is.
Are you an
There's my
exert
rant
to the
for
left
today.
or an exert to the right kind of guy?
I'm gonna go to the left. We're going left. Okay,
Me
we're
too.
taking it left. 100%.
Looks like we got two right exerters, playing here. So I just
Okay.
know where we stood.
I mean, I'm right-handed, so going to the right seems a little cumbersome. Going to the left, just like left, boom, and
But
it's way.
I actually usually exert with my left hand, so.
Okay. So
Yeah.
now we're learning. I hold my cards in my left hand, and I'm using my right hand as my action hand there. As we got a lot of characters on the board, we got a nice little stalemate. No one's exerting, no one's questing. Everyone is just staring each other down. Nice little Cold War situation. Who's going to break first? If that John Silver can get pumped up with a little bit of real estate, okay, if he can get some locations backing him up, I think he's fully prepared to start sending some quests in right or left, however you want to do that.
Yeah, Calhoun can create these weird situations where you don't want to quest with your 3/3 because then Calhoun trades and gets 2 lore, and if they quest and then you trade, they only get 1 lore. So if you think you're the control, that gets often awkward to quest into the Calhoun if you want to trade. But now these locations are going to put the pressure on, I think, force Mason to start turning his character sideways.
So let's see it. Who is going to break first? It looks like it's going to be Towelman who's going to move the Daisy to the mine. We can pop the Chernobog here, as we'll send 1 damage there. And I don't know. It looks like Towelman is going to be in a pretty comfortable spot, as you did ink a dwarf in the process of doing that. So maybe that might tell a story about your hand. Maybe you're trying to run your hand down and get that dock situation yet again.
It's interesting to see Towelman kind of choosing a control line here. I'm not really sure how the deck plays out. I've never played a Amber Steel Locations deck, but it's interesting, because he's choosing not to quest, like not putting his John Silver in danger there. But you wonder if maybe you.
But he is serving up that location though, so now that mine can go down freely. But like you said, if he were to do that, then the Calhoun can come back over the top, take down whatever took out the location, and you're going to be in this reduced game state, which might favor you as the more aggressive player. Who knows? We'll find out here soon. So decisions are being contemplated by Mason here as we're staring down a pretty nice board on the other side of the field, and you have to make a painful choice here, and you will elect to go into the Seven Dwarfs mine. I always call it the Seven Dwarfs mine train because there is a ride in Disney World and in Disneyland. It's called the mine train, and it looks very similar to the artwork on that picture. So I gotta get out of that habit, as we will go ahead and do a little mambo and send the fox on in to polish off the rest of the mine and send that thing on down to the discard pile. And now more thinking.
Yeah, I mean, if Towelman can play multiple locations next turn, John Silver does turn into a pretty powerful, challenging threat with the resist. Can start eating things potentially. Not sure how likely that is, but it's something to think about.
Absolutely.
Right. Leaving nothing exerted. I think it's a pretty good choice there for Mason.
As we'll continue to snake mambo, putting the fox back in hand, just loading up for another big challenge. And that's something that you will have to consider as well. So even if you do, like you said, if he does spam some locations here, which he could do, you're just going to be giving up pretty freely to all those challenging characters again. They're going to just be negging you in the long run. So this is actually a super interesting game, man. A lot to think about. I like these little battles as both of these players are just trying to figure each other out on the fly and what the other person's trying to do. Those are typically the best games to me. But now we're ponder. Sorry, go ahead.
It's just a very stalematey game.
I like those. Those are my favorite games to watch. I suppose, and be a part of and play in. I guess because you really get to. Because sometimes you're playing this game as you probably know a lot better than I do. Sometimes they can kind of be blowouts and people hit their curves, and you kind of do very similar things over and over again. You know what's about to happen to you. They know what you're about to do to them, and it's just like, okay, what are we even doing? But in games like this, when you have situations that don't happen that often, you really have to kind of think and like what could be especially if you're playing Into the Unknown. As we'll go ahead and jam the blue again in normal mode, straight up unbodyguard mode on the blue, and it looks like we're going to just pass again, continuing the stalemate.
That's pretty awkward for Talman. I feel like, Mason's not playing a super late game focused deck, but I just can't help but feel that Mason's deck's a little bit better the longer the game goes. Eventually, he's going to find a genie and just start like chipping away.
Oh, absolutely. And there is the GOAT. So that's a little bit more willpower or a little bit more toughness onto the or a little bit more strength, I should say, onto the field. And just keeping that GOAT in hand or keeping that other bounce in hand, you can just keep 1-for-1 in these foxes indefinitely and keep them ready. And I think that could be a problem here. So Towel Man Purple is probably going to identify that, and maybe you have to start making some changes here. I don't know what those cards are in hand, but they got to start doing something here soon, unless they're just a bunch more of those little mini mouses and whatnot that really can't do anything to affect the position.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're Tall Man, you're hoping you have a dock so you can at least like gas up here.
And we did get some uninkables out. So it's another Baloo, another Calhoun, and one in hand. If that one in hand, like you said, if that's the dock, or you're going to be on your way here. But still, that board is looking quite formidable on the other side. And
sure. I believe Mason still has a fox in hand, so it's a little bit rough to exert anything. But at this point, like, there's kind of a lot of lore pressure in play. I mean, those blues represent 4.
Yeah.
Tall Man being at 0 makes it maybe not so scary, but
you still can't risk the exertion with double Calhoun over there too. So that's another potential 4, maybe more. And then John Silver armed with a few locations, he can start piling up pretty quick. You got that Daisy sitting at 2, so you can get there in a few turns depending on how things go. As we will continue the bouncing will continue to happen. As we'll keep these characters ready, we'll gain another residual lore with this GOAT being returned back to hand, and your characters are standing yet again as the bounce is doing its thing. Wow. Bounce control is bouncing. Look at that.
Yeah, just never leaving anything available to be challenged by these Calhouns or potentially the John Silver with some locations in play.
Wow. Still pretty good. And now we're going to get another one. So let's see if that dock was spooling up in the hand all along. Agatha, all along, was it the dock? Stay tuned to find out. Previously on Was It the Dock? It probably wasn't. That dock's probably getting yeeted onto the field almost instantly, and I don't think it was.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if it is Doc, like Tall Man has an out, which is basically just like put 3 or 4 characters into play this turn, and then just start turning stuff sideways.
Let's see.
I have to go for it pretty soon here, I think.
It is the mine. We're paying 1. It is the. That is happy. Is that happy?
I'd be happy.
Yo, that proxy is money, dude. I like that. That's cash money. You talking proxies? That's next level. That proxy, I think that proxy is better than the actual card. That's next level proxy right there.
Yeah, honestly, even if he had found the happies to put,
I think he still roll with this one.
You just roll the proxy, yeah, for sure. Just gonna probably pop Diablo, maybe. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we go ahead and get the Daisy into the mine. Not putting the, I guess you want to save that happy going into the mine, so you probably can hit something with a little bit more value instead of trying to waste that movement. And here we go. We're breaking it. We're breaking the threshold, and look at that. He did it. The aggression, and you reveal the genie. So that's a lot. Bring it all the way up to 8. Holy smokes! Mega quest 1, 2,
effectively 12 because those blues are going to represent 4 lore at some point. I think it makes sense. Like at some point, you have to break the seal. Hope that you've gone wide enough. Mason kind of durled for a while. Didn't really build up his board. He did a lot of bouncing. Kind of maintained an even keel board position while Talman slowly built up on his side. And I think, Mason might get punished for that here. Bouncing his GOAT instead of trying to just play a wider board because he's going to have a tough time clearing all this stuff now.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. It was cool to see all the bouncing, and you did keep all your stuff ready. But that tempo loss, I think, is going to come back and haunt you unless you can start clearing now. I think you got what it takes to get through both of those blues relatively easily. But is it even worth it, or should you go after the? I don't know. You have to go after the blues.
Right, and the tough thing, right, is you take out the blues, but now these Calhouns on the trade backs.
Oh yeah,
more lore. So it's like you've got 4 lore sitting there in the blue up to 12, and these Calhouns are going to trade probably for 2 lore each, maybe, and suddenly.
Oh, and by the way, we do have a dwarf just sitting there menacingly with the mine just raiding. So it's a mess, man. It's a mess. This is a mess all around.
Got resist right now.
Oh, 100%. Oh god, yeah, this is a mess. This is an absolute mess. I'm not envious of the position of Mason. Maybe you can pull it out. You got 6 in the inkwell. Looking at the deck list. I mean, we haven't seen any crabs yet either, so you might be able to get some crabs going and boost something up and do something.
In the Fox is probably the best play here.
Okay, yeah, that's another really good one. And there is one of those crusty crabs. He's out, and he's able to base boost someone. And now Snake, if Snake felt so inclined, you can drop the location single-handedly.
You're going to need something else, because these other 2 characters are going to have to go in the blues, and you're still leaving a lot of lore pressure in play.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And now, Calhoun coming back in, trading too.
Mm-hmm.
But you will go 1 for 1 with those Calhouns, and you do get another bouncing ink, so you get another Fox back again for next turn. Is it probably take out the Daisy, I would suppose?
Yeah, there's no good answer. I think Daisy's probably the best.
At least that's 2 lore.
1, 2, 3, 6 lore in play. Your opponent's going to 18. It's rough, but I think you have to take the Daisy.
And let's see what we're going to do, as we are going to send forward, drop that Daisy Duck, and you still got a lot coming in over there. So if that hand is, again, we've been saying all game, if there are more locations in hand, this thing can spiral exponentially. I think he could almost, I can't do basic mathematics, but I think he could lose right here. Oh, he's top decking now, so I don't think you have to worry about a location spam. I thought he had 2 in hand for some reason.
No. Yeah, he had 1 card in hand, drew up to 1, played location plus happy last turn. So
okay.
I mean, still, like, it's looking pretty good for Talman. I don't, even if he's just playing off the top for the rest of the game, going to 18 is pretty good.
Yeah. Do you quest here, or do you trade in with these Calhouns?
I trade the Calhouns because that's the only way to get 2 lore with them. Well, for sure. I mean, yeah.
For sure. Yeah, so you go Calhoun into the Fox, you go Calhoun into the Snake, you go John Silver Quest, you go Happy Quest. Oh, Happy's trading. Oh, look at that. Shows what I know.
Interesting.
And now we'll go ahead and send both Calhouns into both. You'll gain your 4, bring up to 16, and now we're 1 and 1. And if you felt so inclined, you could also trade up this John Silver. And you got another one too, John Silver back to back, and you just pass here. So maybe you're setting yourself up for a top
trying to draw location, right?
Location.
Like Mason doesn't have a lot of good ways to answer John Silver. I guess Elsa's like the big one, but Kit doesn't bounce it. So if you just sit here and wait for a location,
hey, look at that!
There she is, Ursula.
The big Ursula. It might be a little too late for the giant sea witch queen, but she's out here and looking spectacular, doing her thing next to the crab. Can't really do anything. Did he top the location? Are you goated? Are you truly him? Is this part of the emulation? Are you the main character?
This is a very disrespectful slow roll if you drew a location.
No, he didn't. Yeah, he probably would have slammed it already, unless he's like doing some type of, I can't hear what they're saying, so maybe he's doing some type of pontification, doing a little bit of
he's probably trying to find a sunflower seeds again.
Yeah, he's probably like dialoguing to the opposition, cracking sunflower seeds, and then he just slams the location and wins. A little bit of BM on the way out. Hate to see it. So let's see if it's going to be, or if, now that big Ursula's up, you might have to just start questing these bad boys just to get some value out of them, because there's a good chance you could lose. And the Pooh Piglet Pirate comes down as well. So we pass here, as the Pooh Piglet Pirate is representing another threat on the board.
But the Ursula takes out the Piglet, so it's a tough spot for Talman. Like, he may have lost his window.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because once Ursula quests, if you don't know, Ursula will be able to exert one character on the board, and you'll be able to exert the Pooh Piglet Pirate, and then the Krusty Krab can slam in cleanly Merlin Crab. And then you got some more bouncage if you felt so inclined. No, yeah, you could if you want it, but that's probably...
Could you imagine Elsa here? Elsa here tap down John Silver, you take out one John Silver and
Ooh.
the Piglet. That'd be crazy.
Oh, and it's Genie. I thought it was Elsa too. I was about to say, wow, he really had it. He really had it. As Genie on the job is going to, not Genie on the job. What's his code name? Genie Wish for Field is going to go ahead and add another card to the hand. We'll send another to the Inkwell, and then we'll play another Genie. So you're trying to catch up here. If you can't get to that location right now,
pretty quickly.
yeah, you better start figuring something out. So now you're just hoping for that top deck location on your next turn, or you're gonna start to feel a little bit afraid here in this all important game number 2. You're fighting for your rights over here if you are Mason. So one more top deck, harder cards guide me. Do you have it? And you do. There it is right there as you slam the location and get up out of there super quick, as Mason has to be stunned. That did not go the way that they wanted, I'm sure. And the Elsa's the next card. I hate to see it. That's why you just don't look. You just don't look. Oh, hate to absolutely see it. As the Ink Thieves has taken the dub, and they've moved up to 2 and over the Sunflowers in this all important round number 1 of the ICL. Let's go. GG. Absolutely. Let me mute myself into the. Oh, sorry.
Pardon?
Oh, sorry. We have some. So I'm listening. So I want to hear more about these locations, man, and this deck, because it seems super aggressive. Seems really cool. It seems like you kind of had a good control of that game. A lot of aspects that we could talk about. So just tell us why you brought this deck and how long you've been playing, and what about it.
So there are a total of 20 locations in the deck, and I'm going to set them on the table if you guys still have the camera running for that.
We do.
Perfect.
We do.
So there are 4 Neverland, 4 Bayou, 4 the Underworld, 4 Pride Lands, and 4 Seven Dwarf Mine. So there are 20 locations, alongside with a whole bunch of characters that are 1s and 2 drops. The only card that costs 3 in this entire deck is John Silver himself. So it is more about. Oh, I'm sorry, I lied. Baloo is also a 3 cost.
Okay.
So Baloo and John Silver are the only 3 costs in this deck. Outside of that, everything is 2 or less.
Nice.
They allow for you to just push a lot of questing power through and essentially like pseudo protect yourself between Pride Lands, Baloo, Seven Dwarf Mine, kind of messing up the math as the opponent is trying to decipher what they want to do for turn. So there are a lot of like tricks outside of obviously the obvious Happy and Doc that would go and coincide with said Seven Dwarf Mine. But another tricky card is the Minnie Mouse. Now, when this card is on a location, it goes from a 0-3 to a 2-3. So if you open with a Minnie Mouse, I did not get to showcase this line of play today, but you can just play 1-drop location, move it to the location, and take out a typical 1-drop.
Oh, dang. Well, look at that.
So
and
there are a few different things.
And it can also survive that treacherous Cindy Storm play on one. A lot of people, that 3 actually comes up quite a bit. I think it's cool stuff. But I do have a couple questions for you outside of the deck. Okay, I gotta know before my time is up. I need to know the sleeves. Okay, the sleeves that you have there with your own likeness on the sleeves. Did you get those made yourself, or were they some type of gift? I gotta know what's the story behind those sleeves that you brought out.
I wanted to have them made, and I was thinking about doing it myself. And for my birthday back last April, the wife had them made for me.
Okay. So there were gift. Everyone who said
Yes.
gift, you are correct. I like to see that. I like to hear that. But let me throw it over to Mason really quick, because we do have other games, and I don't want to stay. I could probably sit here and talk all day. But Mason, when you're paired up in this matchup, talk to me about your feelings about going to this thing. And did you think that this was a deck that you would be facing? Was there any known information?
I didn't know what I'd be facing today, quite honest. Though I think that Emerald Amethyst pairs well really nicely into a lot of meta colors right now. The one weak one, Amber Steel, in pretty much any form. You saw that locations, I eventually got forced into having to deal with both that, Baloo, and then there was Calhoun's just sitting that I just didn't have the character count to also deal with. So it was a game of building up as many threats as possible, and as soon as somebody had the numbers, they could take it away. So I think probably the only misplay I had was in the first game where I inked away the kit just because it was a solid answer to Baloo. But
we talked about that.
Yeah, inevitably they are gonna come back out and likely gonna get the 2 lore by the end of the game. It's just needing to delay it for a single turn could be the difference. So I think if I didn't ink that away, it would have been a different game on the first one. But overall, it was a really cool deck to play against. It really caught me off guard, but I played as well as I could. Both games were down to just a single interaction, and I think they would have flipped. So
Absolutely. That's what these games come to, man. It's all about an inch or a mile, but every loss is a lesson. So I'm sure the next time you encounter a deck like this, you'll be a little bit better prepared and you'll know what to do. But still, I thought it was an incredible match. I'm so glad I had the pleasure of watching it. Talma and Purple, you guys are up 2-0. Is this what you expected to happen here? The Ink Thieves versus Sunflower?
I mean, I did bring a little something to let us know that we play with our food.
BM.
Shots up, dude. Oh, no,
it's all
like
love, man. I actually, I know most of these guys, and nothing but love with them. Great interaction at every event that we go to. I see them all. So
absolutely,
nothing but love and respect.
Absolutely. Well, I'll let you gentlemen go. Good luck for the rest, and I'm sure you'll be cheering on the rest of your teammates for this round, man. And I had a pleasure of watching it. Thanks for providing some good content. I do appreciate it.
Well, yeah, thank you for providing great casting, man. You're killing it.
Thank you.
Oh, I cut you out as soon as you said that. Say bye, Bannable. Oh. Alright. Boop, boop, boop. Let's see if these work for you two now. Bloop, 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 bloop. Oh, fun. Oh, I gotta fix that. I'm sorry, I'm too busy laughing at what they're saying in the background, and it's making me mess up. Oh no, did I do it for both of them? Oh, this one kind of worked. We can hear you, Liam. You can talk.
Excellent. Okay, so you got me? Check 1, 2. You got me? Awesome. Sweet. I'm live. I'm live on air. Oh, excellent.
There we go. I think I'm here.
Hey, there's my co-commentator.
Hello. How are we doing today?
If you're asking me, I'm doing fantastic. I'm super excited to be here. I'm excited to be commentating with you and watching some Lorcana here on a Friday night.
Yeah, no, same. I know it was kind of in flux and everything. I kind of got added in late, and then when I saw that I think Rod had to back out, and they were like, "Oh, Liam's hopping in." I'm like, "Oh man, I got to be on my A game tonight then."
I don't know about that. I'm a big fan of yours, so happy to be here. I'm also a big fan of these players and these teams. So when the opportunity to jump in here presented itself, I couldn't say no.
No, for sure. Yeah, this is definitely a hotly contested match for sure. Two great teams between the Ink Thieves, from Talisman Purple and all the old like 20 lore guys, and then the Sunflower Illumineers from I believe the Kansas City, Missouri area, if I'm correct, right?
Yes, I think that's right. And great team. They do a lot of events out there. They host some amazing tournaments and doing a little commentating themselves. So yeah, fantastic team. And this should be a really great match to wrap up this 3-game set here.
Yeah, I'm definitely really intrigued, especially with both players. Bro Hamilton from the Sunflower Illumineer side, and then Fumbles from the Ink Thieves. Both are two very well known, very good players who always like to bring their own little spice to the matches. So I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Yes. All right. You want to talk real quick about what we're going to see here? Because I'm, sometimes mirror matches can be a little boring. I'm actually kind of excited for this one for a variety of reasons. But one of them is I didn't get to see much Ruby Sapphire at the challenge. And so I'm actually excited to get to watch this mirror. What do you think about this matchup?
So this matchup is, I'm definitely not the best person to ask when it comes to Ruby Sapphire, just being an Emerald Steel player for the majority of the time that Lorcana's been around.
My heart a little bit.
I'm sorry. But I actually did play. I played Ruby Sapphire in the side event, in the Saturday competitive side event, and I got 12th place with it. So I have dabbled a little bit. But just looking at the two lists, spoiler alert to everyone that couldn't pick it up, we are having a Ruby Sapphire mirror match. So nice fun way to end the night. But looking at the two lists, we have two very different approaches. I'm not giving like direct counts or anything like that, but we do have like on one side we have more of like a standard list, with a lot of like sharks, and then no dime with the way to like combat the dime with a nice with a hideaway and everything like that. And on the other side we do have the dime, but with also some sneaky fun tech cards on their side as well, with Bro Hamilton there. So it's definitely really interesting to see the two different approaches. How Fumbles was like going to be like, I'm going to combat the dime for the mirror, whereas Bro Hamilton's like, I'm just going to go right into it and just hope to have it.
Right. Now, I'm really excited to see some of those tech cards come out. One of these decks, as you kind of mentioned, is teched a little bit for the mirror. So I think that could come into play here. And one of these decks definitely has the edge. But we are underway, and Sunflower Illumineer is sending a Maleficent Dragon into the Inkwell, playing a Vitalosphere here on turn 1. A fun little card that wasn't very popular when it first came out. Like, it was in decks a little bit, but really worked its way into the meta here in this last set.
Yeah, definitely, especially with like the inclusion of like Maui Shark, just be able to play like a Shark on 7 if you don't maybe have that B prep or anything, and then just to give it rush and then sending it into something is really nice. The one thing that definitely, as Bro Hamilton plays a Tipo to a ramp, so it's a pretty solid curve to start. The one interesting thing I saw definitely is the Maleficent Dragon being inked. That's, as someone who's played the matchup like in the mirror, like that is like you want to really protect your Tamatoas and your Maleficent. So hopefully that does not come back to bite them in the future.
Yeah, I totally agree. So here we have on the other side a Popsicle played on turn 1, and then both players hitting their ramp on turn 2. Of course, anytime you're piloting Ruby Sapphire, hitting that turn 2 ramp play is critical. We do have a different approach here with Sunflower Illumineers getting that Tipo off, so getting a little bit of presence on the board. And on the other side, Fumble with Sail the Azurite Sea, getting a card in the Inkwell there. So both players able to hit that ramp. And then we have an Ice Block again on the other side. Ice Block, of course, is one of the cards that gives this name, or this deck, its affectionate nickname, Sisu on Ice. So that'll allow you to do a little bit now that it's on the board.
No, yeah, so it'll definitely come in handy for sure, especially with maybe this Grammatala, like depending on what Fumbles has, you could see something like Ice Block and then to play a Brawl, like maybe to prevent eventually seeing like how far I'll go, something along those lines as well. But this is a pretty almost a picture perfect start here for being on the play here for Bro Hamilton. Fumbles does have some decisions look like they're making as they ink I believe that's the McDuck Manor. So that is an interesting tech card that we are going to see.
Yeah, fascinated to see that go into the Inkwell. We do have a Sisu come down here. We'll remove that Tipo, prevent it from questing up there. But McDuck Manor, interesting card to see go into the Inkwell here. McDuck Manor is in these lists almost purely for the mirror, I think. It does some work against other decks, but really it's in here against the Ruby Sapphire mirror. So interesting to see it go into the Inkwell here, because it's a card that I think could make the difference in this matchup. We'll see if there's another one coming later.
Yep. Especially, when you look at like Bro Hamilton's side, seeing like all like the multiple B preps, like, like you're gonna expect like there's no greater feeling like to do something along the lines of, get B prepped and then play like 1 or 2 manners and like, all right, answer a 9 health location.
Right.
As Bro Hamilton plays a Sisu to combat the other Sisu from Fumbles' side. So.
Sisu on Sisu removal here.
Yeah.
One thing I'll note, we have no Hiram Flavishams yet. In this matchup, one of the things that I often like to talk about is the Flavisham subgame. Oftentimes, if you look percentage-wise about the deck that manages to win, it's the one that manages to get a Flavisham to stick and get more than one activation out of it, because getting that card draw going will really propel you into the end game to allow you to dig and find the things that you need. Neither player getting one out, although just as I say that, their one comes down on Fumble's side. Eating that popsicle, drawing 2 cards. We'll see if there's an answer here on Brom Hamilton's side, but that's one of the things that allow this deck to run away with the mirror is an unchecked Flavisham. So hopefully Brom Hamilton's managed to alter their hand heavily or draw into a brawl or some way to answer that.
Yep, definitely. As they are drawing, and they have ramped 1 higher as well, because they were able to sing that How Far I'll Go in their last or again, we're singing a second How Far I'll Go. See, that's the huge thing about having that tall on 4. Like, if you don't see it and you have the songs to sing with it, it's almost its own little engine that I think a lot of people just forget about at times.
No, that's a fantastic point. So much value out of that Tala there and what it's been able to do. 8 inks worth of cards for free. And there we do have the Brawl. It was available to take out that Flavisham, send it off to the discard pile. And suddenly the board state looks a little bit lopsided here.
No, definitely. And then, still, I think looks like we have 1 ink to play with still. We have not inked for our turn, so you could do something. Maybe go sail or play another Tipo to go up to 8 to hopefully get a Tamato online the next turn. And we're still 2 turns away from B-Prep on Fumbles this side. So this could potentially start to get a little out of hand. I mean, as much as it can get out of hand, right? In a Ruby Sapphire mirror.
It's fascinating. We'll see what the answer is here on the other side. Let's see. To your point, I'm just counting ink real quick. Yeah, about 7 on that side.
So they did elect not to ink, I think. I think I could be wrong on that, though.
That is possible. I mean, so we have had some How Far I'll Goes to ramp there, but not a lot of card draw yet. So it's possible, we could have inkable problems. But here we have a Maui, Here It All coming down. It's going to deal with that Tala in short order, saying, I've had enough of your free songs from that Tala there. And doing some work. Of course, the ice blocks there doing a little bit of work themselves to make sure that Maui took the minimal amount of damage from that Tala.
Yep, very, very smart play there by Humbles. Good, nice, easy. Wait, oh man, it looks like this might be a Tamatoa coming down as we're activating our Popsicle for no effect, as just to get it into the discard, and we're gonna play 8, and there they are. Tamatoa is so shiny, getting their Popsicle back.
It is so shiny, and we'll grind up another lure here, going up to 3. And back over to the other side, Tamatoa is one of the key pieces of the engine that you're trying to get going here in the end game. One thing, of course, everybody's seen this deck for the last few sets, and everybody watching knows, how this deck operates. But I'll say it again. One of the things that makes this deck so dangerous is when you get that end game engine online, you get a lucky dime. You sometimes have the resources to be able to close the game down in 1 turn, and so especially in a game with sharks that can often result in a shark stall where you have shark on shark. And so neither player wants to quest because actions will come back. Sometimes that 1 turn win is how a deck is looking to close this out. So, one thing that they're both working towards. But you mentioned the Be Prepared before, and we saw it.
Yep. And it was a really, really cute play how they were obviously with Maui not being able to quest or anything. So Fumble's really smart to sing How Far I'll Go, get the extra ramp as well, and then going right into a B Prep. So really interesting play there by Bro Hamilton. I think they might be struggling with some uninked problems as they weren't able to play the Popsicle down. And I think as they draw a Tipo to play a Popsicle here. Yep. So did have to eat the Vital Sphere. So still getting the 2 draw, of course, but you would definitely like to draw 1 from the Popsicle and then eat that, just keep the Vital Sphere option open.
That's true, but setting up a board stand now that really requires an answer. If you look at the other side of the board, we'll see if there is an answer. There is. That is a Sisu, Empowered Sibling, I believe is the right one. It is a great answer. Not only does it get rid of that Hiram Flavisham, which left unchecked would have really allowed Hamilton to run away with the game, but it's now a 3 lore character sitting on the board. It can quest on its own for quite a bit. It can sing, some big songs, but also, you get a lucky dime on, and now you're activating for 6 every turn.
Yep, definitely. Big, but like Fumble's kind of playing off the top right now, as they haven't seen their Flavisham. So that is with 1 in hand. That has definitely been tough there. I think we're going to see another Tamato. This is Tamato number 2 for Bro Hamilton. So Bro Hamilton has seen a lot of the engine, is just being able to kind of cycle a bit more, as Fumbles has kind of been playing off the top. So this is kind of an awkward spot to be in for Fumbles, as they're not looking too advantageous, not really as much agency in the field at the moment, but we'll see. Like this deck has its ways of just like flipping it on its head, like finding a popsicle, or I guess something like a visions, just to find like what you're looking for.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of control answers. There's a lot of ways to dig, so it is possible to turn really quickly to find those answers. But Brohamington definitely the beatdown here. It's a situation where, especially after the board was cleared, Brohamington is saying, I'm going to play a card. You have to have the answer. I'm going to play the Flavisham. You have to have the answer. And you can answer it, but next turn I'm going to play a Tamatoa. Now you have to find the answer. So definitely pushing the tempo here and forcing Fumbles into response mode, not able to kind of, advance his agenda very much, as he's just digging for the removal option he needs to keep Brohamington from running away with things.
Yep, definitely. And it's even another to note that like the answer this turn at least can't be Maleficent Dragon, because already having to dig twice with the Visions of the Future. So like seeing 10 cards, grabbing 2, and then who even knows where those other 8 cards that you're just probably not going to see again. So a singing Be Prepared. So that's two Tamatoas down. So very big there.
Great turn, though. Great answer. I mean, singing Be Prepared, leaving the ink free, then you play the Flavisham, you eat the popsicle, draw 2 cards, where before Fumbles was kind of almost in top deck mode with 2 or 3 cards digging for answers. Now there's 2 more cards, and now, on the other side, Brohamington has to answer this Flavisham, or we have the items to start digging and getting things going on that side. So a lot of resources available, but things have swung just a little bit here.
Yeah, and something to note that we can see is that like Fumbles is only on Fumbles is on 2 Tamatoas, so Brohamington is on, I think, the regular 4. So so maybe that could be, obviously, so that's 2 down. Obviously Fumbles doesn't know the counts though, but that was still a really good solid turn there for Brohamington, playing a popsicle, playing three items, and then having the Maui ready to go.
And a Tamatoa of his own over there that'll allow you to pull back a popsicle, perhaps. There it is. Play it, draw a card. That'll be Flavisham food in short order. Send it back, draw 2 cards. Of course, the Maui having stuck on the other side, that represents a lethal threat there for Flavisham. But it seems like Fumble's happy to get 4 cards off that Flavisham to propel him a little bit. And we do have, looks like, a Vitalisphere going into the Inkwell. So again here, this is a really grindy end game.
Yeah, no, for sure. It just pretty much depends what they see. Like, so 4, yep, they're perfect. Yep, 4 from Brohamington there. Another Flavisham to draw 2 more cards to see what they can find, kind of to shape this. As this Maui most likely will be eating this Flavisham, if I had to guess.
I think that's a fairly good guess.
Yep. I mean, we obviously could see a song being sung in some way, shape, or form. But obviously with this, that's an easy fill, and it won't even take any damage, as there is an ice block in play as well too. Oh,
okay. We have another answer.
Yeah, we do. That is quite a clean answer as well too.
Yeah, we'll leave that Maui at the ready there, and clean up that Flavisham.
Yep. So still 3 ink to play with. We'll see if Brohamington has anything they want to do on this turn. Obviously, you don't want to go into too much to overextend. But you have seen 2 B preps also on Fumbles' side, so that may be something that you may not be playing around less. But we do have going over to Fumbles, as they are debating how much ink to spend here with yet another Visions of the Future. That might be the 4th one, honestly.
That may be 4. We've seen quite a few here.
Yeah.
And not surprised though. I mean, you're digging 5 each and every time. It's a fantastic card.
Yep, definitely.
I think somebody, it might have been Sailor, I forget who, when it came out, said low key that is one of the best cards, if not the best card in that set. I'd have to go back and check now that we have the benefit of hindsight, but for sure it's a fantastic card.
Yep. So a good quest here by Tamatoa. First Tamatoa quest we've seen, getting a popsicle back, which will be very good to draw a card. Hopefully we can see maybe another Flavisham to continue drawing, as is the case with this archetype.
Yeah, it's a card he would love to have. Let's see, counting ink here. I mean, we do have that popsicle play for 1. I'm trying to think of what else we would have. We need all these other resources for. Here we go. 8, 9. There's a Maleficent Dragon coming down. I'm going to remove that Flavisham. Again, the Flavisham subgame, so important in this matchup. So Dragonfire there, making short order of poor old Hiram. He definitely likes the ice. He likes the popsicles. He doesn't care so much for the fire.
Very true. Very true. Oh, there's another Flaversham. As you get rid of one, you just see another one.
We talked about the 4 visions. This might be 4 Flavershams are pretty close to it. I haven't been keeping track, but there have been quite a few played on that side.
Oh yeah, for sure. Could see. So you could a couple of things you could do. You could obviously run the Maui in, especially with the Vital Sphere too, to take out that Tamatoa. And then that might be a fair trade because you really can't leave that Tamatoa up at this point in some way, shape, or form.
No, you're absolutely right. That Tamatoa represents, a card every single turn with the popsicle and not 2 or 3 lore, depending on if you draw another item. So yeah, I think that's a wise play, or at least, we should try to get it off the board.
Yeah, definitely. But there is still a good bit of ink to play with, though, on Bro Hamilton's side. 8, it looks like. So 7 here.
Oh, here's a fun card.
There we go, Mulan, something that we had that we were talking about. This is the probably the most fun tech that we're gonna see today. So Mulan, for those of you that don't know, 6 drop, 2/6. When you play this character, if you shift player, she gets +3 this turn. During your turn, whenever this character deals damage to another character in a challenge, deal the same amount of damage to up to 2 chosen characters.
There it is.
Yep.
So Mulan moving in there in short order, doing 4 damage to the Tamatoa, shooting another arrow over there at Maleficent.
Yep.
Maui's going to finish up that Tamatoa. Ice block, of course, applied there, so we only have 4 damage on both the Maui and the Mulan.
Yep, very, very good there. Smart play there by Bro Hamilton. It came in clutch exactly when they needed it too. As we send the turn back over to Fumbles.
Yeah, it's a fun play because for sure, as we pointed out, you had the answer with the Maui already in the Vitalosphere, but able with this play not only to get another 2 lore character on the board, and again inviting a response, but you put 4 damage on the Maleficent, so that could come into play later. We'll see if it matters.
Yep. Ooh, another ice block coming down here. I think that's number 3, or did they get it back with? I think they might have gotten it back with Tamatoa, honestly.
I don't remember, honestly. Certainly you want to pull the popsicles if you can, but that might be the case.
Yep. So using both of those.
Looks like applied to the Mulan.
Yep, taking it out nice and easy, nice and clean, as it's only 2 health, or 2 strength on that. Let's see, is this... Yep, there it is, another Giram.
Another Flavisham. There he is, 2 cards drawn.
Yeah, we're starting to get a little scary here on Fumbles this side, as they are probably fishing for another B prep. Like, you already played 2, so you do want to find another one at some point, just in case.
No, you're right. You'd love to have it in your hand for some insurance. I mean, I think you're happy with your Flavisham on the board right now. You want to find an answer for that other Flavisham. There it is with the Brawl, removing that Hiram. But yeah, I mean, for sure, especially in a meta with Maui Sharks, both sides are thinking, the other side has those Sharks, but can come down at any time, start cycling a Pirate's Life if that's one of the things that the deck is running. And so you want to have an answer in hand for that, or those Mauis, 1 or 2, can run away with the game pretty quickly.
But again, like, we're still not even really at a threatening lore count on either side. Only 4-3 in favor of Bro Hamilton. But we've definitely gone very much into the late game already. Seeing between multiple Tamatoas on both sides. Seeing one dragon on each side, one in the Inkwell on Bro Hamilton's side, and then the one from Fumbles that they've played. But I know as Bro Hamilton is debating a Visions here, which I think is one of the first ones that they've played as well. But just looking at the list too, like, what do you think is, like, kind of where Bro Hamilton's head is at this point? Obviously, with like the one of a dime, looking for their Tamatoas, like, where do you think that they're going to be going to progress to get to the to win this game?
Bro Hamilton. So, I mean, really the key to this matchup, I mean, there's one of 2 things which you're going to use to finish the game, of course, and that's Maui, Half Shark, or the Dime. And of course, Bro Hamilton, I mean, I not to tip it too much for the odds, but Bro Hamilton isn't running any Maui Half Sharks unless I'm looking at the wrong list here. So there's that one lucky dime in there, and that's really what you want to get to close the game. You've got to find it. You've got to take a turn to get it to stick. It takes a whole turn sometimes to devote that 7 ink to playing it, but you need to get that on the board. Once it's there, you can start grinding 1, 2, 3, 4 lore a turn with a Tamatoa with significant significant lore. So that's one of the things you're going to want to be thinking of, is you're digging to find the answers to the Half Sharks when they're played, and then you're looking for that lucky dime. You have got to find that dime.
Yep, definitely. As Fumbles is counting ink, if like Fumbles being on the Sharks, are looking for more for the burns. As we see yet another Tomato. That's Tomato number 3 for them. Getting the ice block, interesting there. Oh, and there it is.
And there's the manor.
Yep, that's a good answer too, because you can't really deal with that too cleanly at the moment.
Yeah, it's a difficult card for this deck to deal with. I will say the Vitalospheres oftentimes are in here for the mirror. You mentioned earlier you pair them with Maui, do significant damage. We do have a Maleficent Dragon on the other side of the board there, which can do quite a bit of damage to that manor. One thing I'll mention, we did see it go into the Inkwell earlier. I'm willing to bet that we had a little bit of an ink problem and a hand size problem over on Fumble side of the board, because I think one of the win conditions in this mirror match is keeping 1 or 2 McDuck manors for the preponderance of the game, and then trying to dump them in the late game when you can control the board. Maleficent, though, other than the Maui with the Vitalosphere, just a fantastic answer for this McDuck manor. So we'll get 2 lore out of it, but it won't last much longer unless Fumbles did find that Be Prepared, which would be a great card to play here.
Yep, definitely. Looks like they did not, but they are gonna. We're gonna Dragonfire something here.
Some dragon side here. I mean, the ready, the ready, the exerted. One it is what it is. We'll take away the one that ran into that manor just for a little bit of vengeance.
Both players seeming to be playing over the playing off the top a little bit here as well too. I know on Fumbles' side, I think they like you were saying, they were struggling with some ink problems, like inking a manor earlier, then inking that popsicle, which they had gotten back from Tomato as well. And that has to be Flaversham number 4 at this point.
It does. It's so many Flavershams. But again, you want to see it if you're Brohamington playing that with the popsicle. 2 cards. I mean, that's looking for that dime.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But then on Fumbles' side, like you're like or Brohamington, like you're like, are you really playing around Hideaway yet? Like that's one thing you have to just kind of think about too. But again, like, and spoiler, like Fumbles does have Hideaway, so it will be interesting to see if that does come into play here. Like, are they holding it, or do they send it to the bottom with their with any of the visions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fascinating. So mentioning the Hideaway, it's a great point. Hideaway has been worked in, and actually it became popular when it first came out because it was one of the few cards to answer items. And so especially in the mirror, everybody thought, hey, if I can interrupt either the popsicle chain on turn 4, or if I can get rid of the lucky dime in the late game, that's my key to winning a matchup against a Ruby Sapphire deck. The problem is Tamatoa just pulls them back. So oftentimes players are more than happy to have dimes hit their discard pile in the mid game, because you're just going to pull it back with the crab later on. But we've actually seen several crabs go to the discard pile already on Brohamington's side of the board. And here's another one. So without the lucky dime, if this crab is dealt with, that one lucky dime, if it does get banished with the Hideaway, without the crab to pull it back, that's one of your biggest win conditions, if not your primary win condition, that would be gone.
Well, that's honestly that's the great thing about Hideaway, though, is Hideaway goes to the Inkwell. So it's like, so you can't even, you're not even getting it back. So that's why you have to be like very smart when you do play that. But this Sisu, here it is. This is the Shark. So this could be a very big turn here for Fumbles, depending on what they have. So questing for 3, and then are we gonna start sending off some spells here?
Let's see. Yeah. Maui Shark, a card that, the Ruby Sapphire players were more than happy to have in this set. We've been used to seeing this deck for like the last 2-3 sets, popularized by a lot of great players. I think one of the ones we all think about is Sailor, who publishes a fantastic Ruby Sapphire guide. If you all haven't read it, you should take a look. I actually referenced it again in preparation for this match. It's always on my desktop. Whenever it gets updated, I download a new one. But the win condition for this deck was generally always dime. Dime is really what unleashed this. And there's some alternate win conditions. You can scrape out lore with like a big Tamatoa and some other stuff, but it really was dime. The Shark provided an alternate win condition, and it's why we've seen dimes go down to 1 in a lot of these decks as an alternate win con, or in some big events, we've seen players top with no dimes, just relying on the half Shark and cards like a Pirate's Life cycles in order to win. So a really fun card. I like seeing now the variety in the Ruby Sapphire Sapphire decks that it unleashed. And yeah, we'll see what Fumbles does with it here. As on the other side, Brohamington questing with that Tamatoa, and with 3 items on the board, that'll be questing for 4, pulling back the Popsicle for the 5th item.
Paying 1, drawing a card here, and then activating Dime, most likely. Yep, there it is, the Dime activation for 1, 2, 3, 4, for 5. So going to 16. So that is lethal on board right now if this Tamatoa cannot be dealt with.
Well, it's the Dime is such a problem. Even if the Tamatoa is dealt with, another Tamatoa later, or even any character dropped, as represents instant lore. So at this point, you want to deal with that Tamatoa, but you also would love that Hideaway we mentioned earlier to get rid of that Dime.
Yep, exactly. And then, is this it? Yes, it is.
There's the Hideaway.
Yep.
I'm guessing we're not choosing the Popsicle here. The Dime to the Inkwell, and I think that's the only one. The other thing we'll mention, though, we talked about having lethal on the board. That is lethal with Tamatoa, but there's an alternate card. A Pirate's Life could come out by a little bit more time by reducing Brohamington's lore by 2, paired with Shark. That's nice, but there goes Maui Shark. Challenge there. We'll pull back. What do you think we're pulling back here?
I've imagined how far I'll go. Oh, Visions too. Yep. I was thinking either how far I'll go or Visions are the ways, because you need to Fumbles did have only 2 cards. I think it's 2 cards in hand at this point. So gaining the 1, which is really strong here, and then but just trying to find an answer in one way, shape, or form. I would imagine it's going to be something along the lines of like Tamatoa, maybe something like a bigger threat. It could be another dragon, or maybe it's the 3rd manor, depending on what they did. Oh, there it is.
Oh,
See, 3rd manor.
Oh, what a brutal play right now.
Yep, fantastic turn there for Fumbles. Like,
yeah,
that's about as good as it could get. Because like even a B prep doesn't even answer this too cleanly.
No, it doesn't answer it, and what a brutal turn. I mean, multiple big threats. You have 3. You have the 3 lore Sisu on board there. You have the Maui Shark, which represents lore return with actions and can start, pulling things back if anything is left exposed, which it'll be a while before that happens. But then the manor, they're getting 2 lore a turn, all requiring, as you pointed out, like different answers. So we'll see what Brohamington has available here. But oh my goodness, what a turn!
Yep, I think that looked like 9. Yep, 9 for the dragon.
There we go.
Have to get rid of the shark. I would
imagine. It's a tough call. It's a tough call because the shark, it does give you that lore every time his action's played, which represents 1 or 2 a turn as you're digging. But that's 3 lore on that Sisu, and with the 2 lore on McDuck Manor, that's 5 next turn. It's a tough call for me, and you called it right into the shark.
Because I was thinking that he had the Maui, or they had the Maui to answer it immediately. So now they still have the two lore battery. In the McDuck Manor on the other side, so that does have to be dealt with. But
one of the best possible responses, though, right? Because not only did you deal with that 3 lore, but you have that 7 strength character on the board. You draw a Vitalosphere or something else, and you can take care of that McDuck Manor. So probably the best answer that Brohamington could have had.
Yep. And then another card that we haven't seen yet, but is actually pretty solid, is going to be the Greatstone Dragon. Which just helps just progress your inking strategy just throughout the game, depending on when you see it. And seeing it very late is one thing. This looks like a Sisu, a signed Sisu.
Okay. Okay.
And we are just gonna say, you know what? Turn sideways and go. Answer my board, please.
Yep. This is now lethal mode. You have to take care of 2 characters. You have to have the Be Prepared. I think that's the answer you need.
This is probably the best way to play it, honestly, just especially seeing how you've seen 2 be prepared from Fumbles already. So it's like, you don't know how many they played. Like, do they only play 2? Are they on 3? Are they on 4? It's like you're kind of playing the odds at this point. Like, answer the board. Like, you have to answer me now. Like, I don't care about your two lore gain at this point.
No, that is the play. Let's see. Do we have it? Are we digging?
Yeah, we have enough ink for it. So all right,
I'm on the edge of my seat. We're gonna look, and I've not kept count of the Be Prepared either. That will be it. That's no Be Prepared. Okay. And that is the match. What a game.
Yeah, that was pretty solid. So it is to note that Brohamington was on the play. Obviously, very play draw dependent in this matchup as well. But that was a very, very fun, very grindy match. Like, you saw kind of both strategies like kind of go off. Definitely, it was really interesting to see. Fumbles was definitely a little bit more ink strapped and
yes,
missing, and and like didn't see as much out of their Hirams, whereas it seemed like Brohamington was just drawing a ton of cards. But it was a very, very fun, very, very interesting match. Like you kind of saw the back and forth there, and the third McDuck Manor actually almost was the answer.
Yeah, it nearly did it. I'm willing to bet, in another reality, with the hand was just slightly different. If we had one more inkable, perhaps that McDuck Manor, that first one that we saw inked, survives into the later game, and you see two played at the same time. That's a great way to win in this matchup. One of the fun things about this is we got to see both decks doing generally what they wanted to do. We did see the dime eventually on Brohamington's side. We did see the curve hit mostly well. We didn't see the Flavisham's hit on turn 4. We did see Tala's, I think, at least on one side, but the Flavisham's came out turn 5, 6, so in short order. But yeah, both decks have the answers for the Flavisham's, and this is the kind of, if both decks are doing what they want to do, this is the kind of game that you expect to see.
Yep, absolutely. And we did. It was just fun to see. We saw a lot of like the fun tech cards. We saw the Mulan come out. We saw the Great Stone Dragon. Like the Great Stone Dragon really didn't have much to do at any point because it only was there for one turn. But again, just seeing it used, seeing like the 3 manors, like that's something that you don't really see too often from many players. Usually you see that count at 2. But will be very interesting, especially with fumbles on the play here. So I like to see how their approach is going to be different here. I mean, hopefully for them it's just pop, sail, pop here, and then you're off to the races.
And you're off to the races, and you're just clicking with hopefully a brawl in hand to deal with the other Flavisham. No, it's you pointed out some of the tech cards. That is one of the things that I do enjoy about this deck and this meta. I'm not a huge player of this deck. Honestly, I prefer mid-rangey decks, but I have played it before. I do respect it. But nowadays in the meta, I do like how it can take on a variety of different flavors, and you can work in cards like the Great Stone Dragon or Chicha, and other fun cards, McDuck Manor. We could go on. So there are different identities to this deck in the current meta. But we talked about this deck's game plan. Here we are hitting popsicles on turn 1, both sides.
Yep, and it's interesting to note that both of them, as we see a Tipo here put something into the ink. Well, on Fumbles' side, they inked another McDuck Manor, and then on Brohamington's side, they inked another dragon. So almost identical turn ones, with the exception of I believe Brohamington had a Vital Sphere in game 1 as opposed to inking a popsicle. So that is interesting as well.
It is interesting. It is interesting. Not a card you see ink terribly often because it's one ink and it's a card that replaces itself. So if you have any spare capacity, any cards that you don't necessarily need to keep, then you keep that popsicle, you get it on the board, it replaces itself. So yeah, it tells me that perhaps we're a little high on an uninkable count here over on Brohamington's side. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yep. I think that looks like a dragon inked for Fumbles as well too. So this is.
I agree. And
we're
Flavisham
making some
being hit here.
Oh, yep. Oh yeah, Flavisham play. But these are some very interesting starts here, especially from inking perspectives here. So could have some clunkier hands, but one way to get out of that clunky hand is definitely to eat a popsicle with your Flavisham.
Flavisham played, and the answer to Flavisham here, you had to answer that Flavisham. Fantastic. So that's 1 off the board, but definitely Fumble is getting 2 cards off that Flavisham, the popsicle, and forcing Brohamington to spend the entire turn, with that 3 ink responding to that Flavisham. Definitely Fumbles in the beatdown role here, with the Grammatala now being played on turn 4.
Yep, and then especially forcing Brohamington to ink the Visions of the Future, which is a card that we saw how powerful that was for Fumbles in the last match. Oh, and that's McDuck Manor number 2 going to the inkwell. Oof,
that is true, but we are off to the races here. I mean, we're propelling into the end game here, and you do, when I talk about decks, one of the things I like to talk about is scripts, because every deck generally has a script, almost like a movie that it's trying to follow. It wants to do something on turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, and one of the things as you become a more experienced player and you learn what's going on in the meta is you want to understand the script of every single color combination and what that's trying to do, and that allows you to recognize very quickly when that deck is doing something slightly off, when it's doing something weird, and you kind of smell that opportunity that provides. So here, as I'm watching this, and I'm sure Fumbles is seeing the same thing, I'm kind of smelling a bit of opportunity here, watching what Brohamington's inking, etc. Although one way you get back on script and to find the cards that you need is to play a Flavisham in this deck, start eating popsicles, and that was a great turn there.
Yeah, that was pretty good. It was unfortunate to have to ink one of their Flavishams on Brohamington's side, but again, still though, just being able just to respond immediately right back with it, and just draw a couple cards is what you want to do. as Gramatala on Fumbles' side is able to sing How Far I'll Go, something that we talked about from the last match, to find a popsicle, to start cycling a little bit more here. And that looks like a Vitalosphere and 3 more into, a
Baby
Sisu to deal.
Sisu. Perfect. A fantastic answer here for that Flapsham. You cannot leave those unchecked. That sub game is so important in this mirror.
100%. So let's see. Oh, I think it was just an. Oh, okay. Yeah, just making sure everything's good. All the boxes are checked, and we pass the turn back to Brohamington. So 6 ink. Nothing too crazy. I mean, this isn't a board worth be preparing yet, so you're not thinking about like ink be prep. But just a nice How Far I'll Go into to ramp a little bit and to find a card that you potentially could want to have in the next couple turns to kind of swing the game back into your favor from Brohamington's side.
Yeah, it's kind of I would call this not an awkward board state, but it's an unassumingly threatening board state. When you're playing against a deck with sharks that's going to close out the game perhaps by getting 1, 2, 3 lore a turn, by playing actions, or by playing Pirate's Life, getting you 3 lore a turn. This deck can get kind of scary as it gets closer to 20 by scooping up 1, 2, 3 lore with some of these little not tech characters, but utility characters like Flavisham, Tipo, Gramatala there that do what they need to do, and then they just quest for a lore or 2 every turn. So having 3 characters on the other side, if left unchecked in short order, Fumbles could be at 11, 12, 13 lore. So playing that Sisu, answering that other Sisu, it seems like a pretty unassuming play to just kind of swing by that one character, but that's actually a pretty big swing in terms of board state, because if you don't do that with Tipo's power, inability to move either character, Fumbles gets 3 lore on that turn, and starts to run away with things. But here we have, we keep talking about McDuck Manor. Here one is not going into the Inkwell, going into play. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm happy to finally see it. I mean, I've been waiting. I was hoping that Fumbles would get to play multiple of them. Hopefully, we'll see if Brohamington is keeping count and know that this is, obviously they don't know the exact deck list, but to see that they're keeping count, they do know that this is the 3rd one.
Yeah, and this is the time of game where it can be especially oppressive, because there is no, without a Vitalosphere and a character on board, there's really no one turn answer for this unless you string a few things together. So, and even if you do have a 1 turn answer, you're spending your entire turn devoting all of your resources to dealing with that one McDuck Manor. So it's going to be a while before that's removed, and probably represents 4 or 6 lore by the time it's dealt with. And in the meantime, the other threats that Fumbles has on the board, those 1, 2 lore characters, are going to be chipping away at getting closer and closer to 20.
Yep. And I think it's to note that, before the Tipo on Brohamington's side was taken out, both of the Tipos were questing away just unchecked. I think almost all of that lore came from the Tipos alone.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. There's one of the things that Tipo did for this deck. Before, we often saw 1 jump ahead or other cards. Oh, goodness gracious. And here's the Maui Half Shark. Oh, man. Again, this is where you start to invite the Be Prepared. There goes the Maui Half Shark into the Sisu, which will trigger Maui's ability. I'm pulling back How Far I'll Go. Mm-hmm. We will be able to sing that again. Here it is, stringing together a series of actions here. We're going to get another card in the Inkwell, another card in the hand. Mm-hmm. What a play there. What a string of cards there.
Yep, and I mean, so obviously your direct answer has to be, you have to answer the shark immediately, in some way, whether hopefully it's not just a B prep, because that's not the best way to do it, especially with the McDuck Manor on board, but it might have to be the answer.
Here's a fun play though. Coming down, we're going to get that Rush with a Vitalosphere +2. It's going to move in. It's going to challenge the Tipo there, and it's going to get to do its power or its strength to other characters. There, it's a Be Prepared without a Be Prepared. Man, we were seeing the full potential of Mulan here. We saw it do a little tricky things last game, but here it is doing work. What a play paired with that Vitalosphere.
Yep, huge play there from Brohamington. This is why they have it in there too. For well, basically the same ink cost as a Be Prepared at that point.
That is true. And now being forced to bring that down to the left and deal with that Hiram. But if you were to sketch out, if you were talking to somebody and they're like, why are you running, Mulan? And you're like, well, if I was in this situation, it would do this stuff. You probably couldn't script a better scenario than running into a 1 strength Tipo and getting to nuke a Maui Half Shark, and another character at the same time.
Absolutely perfect.
What a play.
Yep. And then a very clean answer to the McDuck Manor. Only got, I think, 2 triggers off it. So 4 lore. Still, I mean, still a lot though, especially in this matchup.
Yep.
But so now Fumbles is in the way that they have to kind of answer here a little bit. Oh,
and
I mean, we're digging a little bit.
Flavisham is always an answer. Drawing 2 cards, eating that popsicle.
So let's see where they have. So five ink left, soon to be 6. So could be. Don't know if it's a shark here yet. You want to just slap it down for no reason.
No, I mean this is a board state that allows you, quest for the Maleficent, force. You're at 10 lore. You're in the beatdown roll right now. Okay, we're not questing. We're in a challenge into the Mulan. No more Mulan shenanigans there. So inviting a crackback from that Maui there. But again, so Fumbles here playing the patient role rather than questing, playing some board control. And now we have a Tamatoa coming down.
Yep. So Brohamington trying to find their footing, find their way back into this match a little bit. And Tamatoa is definitely an answer. Something that had, like we said, like there's this deck, especially this mirror match, is basically built around haymakers for a boxing term for you guys. Just like who can just play and keep everything up back and forth, like, and who misses their answer. So like if there's no answer for this Tamatoa and it gets the quest and gets something else back, like that's hard. That's hard to deal with for Fumbles. Fumbles does have a good bit of cards in their hand this time though, unlike last match.
Yeah, both players here. I can't see Brohamington's side. I see him. I see the shadow shuffling. It seems like there's a fair number of cards there. I'm not sure exactly how many. Let's see. Do we have an item for the Flavisham though? He wants to be fed.
No, he did just quest him out.
Oh, he did just quest him out. Okay. So and the Maui half shark coming down here, and a Tipo.
So we're just kind of setting up. We're kind of racing in a way here too. So it looks like 3 in hand for Fumbles, and we can't see Brohamington's hand. But this Tamatoa though, depending on what we have, like do we have the dime? Do you just slap down the dime, play dime, get a popsicle back, and then dime for a couple to kind of get yourself back into this game?
You can. The problem is the lore disparity. I mean, Fumbles is so far ahead, clearly in the beatdown roll. Every single lore at this point, 1 or 2 lores in a deck that's playing half sharks, which can get instant lore, which has reach, matters. And so, I mean, you could slam the dime and try to force yourself into the beatdown roll, but it's just a lot to come back from. So really, Brohamington here has got to be thinking about, how do I, deal with that? How do I find an answer for the half shark? How do I deal with that Flavisham?
Yep.
And that's how you do it. That's how you do it.
I was just thinking, I was like, you know what? He could do it if they have it, and then you have another Tamatoa in hand, that's a solid answer.
Solid play. Singing to be prepared, leaving all your ink available, playing the Tamatoa. Look at that swinging board state. That's one of the things that makes songs so powerful in this game. There was a while in some like Ruby Amethyst decks, particularly where they worked out every character over 7, and it just made Be Prepared so much worse because you had to hard play them. Anytime you can sing Be Prepared and immediately build the board state back, it swings things in such a huge way.
It's
fantastic.
So powerful just to do like singing a 7-cost song and then we instantly answer it back. But yeah, you have to. So that's kind of a tell that Fumbles is kind of reaching a little bit here. So Brohamington can definitely get their footing back into this game, as this looks like to be a Hiram. Oh no, Tala. Okay. Another 4-drop.
Terrible answer.
Yeah, I think I saw a Sail. I think the decision was Sail and something else. Or I think it might have been Tala. I kind of was able to see a little bit from the glare.
I missed it. That's one thing I missed from the challenges is the hand cams. It does provides a little extra, but there's more suspense this way. We're like, I don't know what he has. He could have to be prepared. He might not have to be prepared. Oh, Alice City here.
Oof. And whatever that was, it was a snap decision on Brohamington's side. They instantly inked that card or put it underneath.
Yep. Possibly a dime. Another Tamatoa. Could have Maleficent Visions of the Future here on Fumble's side. We're going to dig 5. Try to find something. And again, another weird board state. Like, on the one hand, Talas don't seem that threatening, but that is 3 lore a turn. And, cards that can sing. You're like, at some point, when your opponent builds up a board state of a bunch of innocuous characters, but like 4 or 5 lore, it starts to invite a board wipe. But if there's one thing that's going to keep smaller characters from questing, it's a Maui Half Shark on the other side that's going to scoop up an action from your inkwell or from your discard pile every single time it challenges. But here we go, back and forth. That Maleficent, possibly the card that was that snap decision, answering that Half Shark, and another win condition now heading off to Fumble's discard pile.
Yep, I believe that's definitely 2 sharks. It might even be a third one.
I think it's 2. I might be wrong. I think it's 2.
Yeah, I think so too. But it's still like, regardless, like being answered each time. So there's Greatstone Dragon to kind of help there, and then a human Sisu that gets 0 value. So this is kind of like, this is a tell for me on Fumble's side, like low hand cost, just like trying just to kind of just force your way over the line at this point.
Yep. I mean, you have to answer it. Worst case scenario, it requires your opponent to dedicate a resource to it, or it gets you a lore. So just throwing it out there, it is an unkable. But questing here on the other side, removing that Maui Half Shark removes that big threat, that stall, and it looks like we're going to quest for 4 lore. And now this is where things turn a little bit. Bro Hamilton now was in the control role for pretty much all of that game, getting up to 10 lore here. Now things have swung. So Be Prepared starts to look really inviting, and it looks really inviting now. Crab coming down, pulling back the Popsicle, playing the Popsicle, drawing a card. We're getting that engine going. You get a lucky dime here. I'm no mathematician, but a lucky dime probably represents game with this board state.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you have 5 lore on board here. You have 8 on board now, let alone 6. So dime is instantly lethal. So this has, and Fumbles has 1 card in hand prior to this, and then a second one here. So this is it comes down to that dime or bust, or stringing together a bunch of items in hand.
Well,
2 items. Two items ends the game.
Yeah, thinking about this here, if you'd have the Be Prepared, I'm sure you'd slam that down. We don't. We have the Maui. It's going to run into the Maleficent, remove that threat, the highest lore character available. So that might buy another turn, even with the dime. Questing there, going to 13.
So Vitalosphere.
Just get that on the board, make that Tamatoa just a little bit bigger. Now it'll represent a quest for 4, plus the other 3. That'll be 7, going up to 17 if we choose to quest out.
Yep.
That's what we'll do.
Yep. So we should go to 17, and then getting something back. I would imagine it was a Popsicle.
Let's
at this
see.
point, if there are any.
What's left? One thing with Ruby Sapphire, there are always items left. Looks like a Vitalosphere at least.
I saw an ice block in there as well too, I believe.
There's always items in the discard pile. There's always money in the banana stand.
There's always money in the banana stand. Great, fantastic reference. Love it. But not finding the dime though. If that card wasn't a Be Prepared, that Fumbles didn't just draw, this game is just over.
Oh, this is such a fun game. I want it to be a Be Prepared, just because Visions of the Future, that will find you a Be Prepared.
There's 2 more in the deck.
Oh, so we're thinking, which leads me to believe we didn't find it.
I think they hit a How Far I'll Go or a Garamatala in some way. It looks like
here.
Yeah, counting the ink to see like what there is.
Yeah. Let's see.
Hesitant to put that card in their hand, unfortunately.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, so the problem is we have to deal with 2 characters. Even without the dime, you have to deal with the Tamatoa. It represents game on its own. And then you have to deal with 1 additional Tala. There we have the Visions. I mean, I can't see the ink there, but it looks like there might be 7. So now digging 10 cards this turn, looking for the answer.
Yeah. So I think.
Okay.
Okay, so we took a card there, so I'm going to assume this is. Oh no, 2 more.
Oh.
Go for a sale.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah, I think
now
that's
I'm not sure if we have the ink. Nope. How far? Nope. There it is. Oh,
there it was.
2 cards down. Oh, it's so close. It is so close.
Yeah, fantastic comeback there by Bro Hamilton.
Oh, yeah. What?
Did we get dragged in stream yet?
You can start.
All right.
What's up going on, guys? So fantastic match here. Great stuff, Brohampton, on a nice 2-0, and fantastic stuff from you as well, Fumbles. How do you guys feel after that? I mean, it was you had your game one was a little stressing a little bit, and then game 2 was you had a lot better start, and then you kind of just unfortunately ran out of steam towards the end. So how did you feel like going into this matchup, like when you realized it was a mirror, or did you guys know it was a mirror beforehand?
I think I knew I lost the game 1 when I saw that it was a mirror based off my opening hand. Brohampton is famous for playing Blurple, so was not expecting a mirror at all. That's probably my own mind game there. But we had like Mauis in our opening hands, and so we kept a Maui for that reason. But other than that, yeah, I got cooked.
Yeah, so I heard
this is getting buzzed, dude. Look at this.
Yeah, I was about to say, for those of you that don't know in the chat, this was a buzz cut match. So the loser of the match was going to get their hair shaved off. So Fumbles, before we get back to Brohampton, how do you feel about that?
I shouldn't have talked smack, man. You know what? I look better with a beanie on, so we're just gonna stick with it for the next few months.
Yeah, I told Fumbles earlier in the Discord. I told him, I said, we're gonna start calling him Mark Andrews after this game.
Oh man, brutal.
But yeah, it was a really fun game. That game 1 was really back and forth, and I didn't know that he was not playing dimes or anything. So I thought game 2. I thought you really had game 2, and I thought he was digging for dime.
No, so I haven't liked dime too much, especially like locally. Like I think I'm gonna be swapping back to it because I think for this exact reason it's kind of good in the mirror, but it's also better for the red ruby amethyst matchup.
Right.
And then I'm only playing 2 Tamatoas, which is kind of like also you're asking to lose. But I don't know. I played probably like 20 games this past weekend, and I played Tamatoa like once because like I was just winning a game with just sharks alone. And then the manners, if he didn't answer them, I would have been probably a little bit better off.
Right. So I got this. So last night I got a wild hair. You know, I got like this wild idea of like, hey, I'm gonna play Mulans and Vitalispheres, and I play tested it last night, and it felt pretty good in the matchups that I was playing against. So I was like, I'm just gonna roll with it, and the Mulan came in clutch that one turn when I was able to board wipe without
crazy.
Dude, because I had B Prep and Big Sisu in my hand, and I didn't want to play either one of those. And I top decked a Vitalisphere to let loose on the Mulan.
Yeah, no, like that was super interesting from your side. Sorry, Liam is having some audio issues, so I guess it's just me with you guys for the moment, but we'll definitely get Liam back shortly. No, but just looking at the 2 lists, like it was like super interesting to see like both sides, like especially on your side, Brohampton, like, you know, the Mulan, the Medusa, the one Medusa which you didn't even see. And then the dime. So how did that? So I know you were talking about how the Mulan felt, but it looked really, really fun, especially with the Vitalisphere, because you had the one play in game 2 where you had the Mulan to go into the Tipo to take out the shark and then the Tala. So was that kind of like how your experience went? Like that was like what you were looking for, or you just wanted just to clear some boards?
So I know Thieves is like practically known for running more aggro style of lists.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea that Fumbles played red blue. So when I got matched up against Fumbles, I had no clue what to expect, and I already locked my deck list. I locked my deck list in yesterday to include the Mulans. So I actually did see the one of Medusa, but I put it in my Inkwell with a Tipo because I had a B Prep, a Big Dragon, and a Brawl in my hand or something like that. So I had plenty of removal already, and the one of Medusa was just in case, like for some reason he's playing Genie and I can't answer it, you know.
Gotcha. Yeah, that definitely makes sense, especially too like not being on any sharks, so that's a hard answer too. Like you really can't deal with the Genie too cleanly. But then Fumbles on your side, I really liked you had a lot of choices that I thought were really cool too, between like the 4 sharks, and then the one hideaway. So mainly you were like, you said you didn't really like the dime locally. So you were just more so like, okay, I'm going to make sure you don't have dime, which I thought was really cool. And then the 3 manners, which I absolutely love. So how did those feel? Even though you had to ink them a lot, unfortunately.
They're all thrown over my desk right now. I think like dime is great, right? But in a red blue mirror, you're never trying to prep, right? You're always trying to use your card advantage.
Yep.
So they're kind of like there just as like an extra thing. When I threw it on board and I had 2 other characters and then I played Shark, I was like, all right, we're in a good spot. I should have the mistake there was not healing the Shark, especially after he revealed that he had Mulan next our previous game. So I think if that Shark survives and Manor survives, we're in we're cruising. But yeah, the Manor was kind of bait though. I took it off the last visions in game 1 as well, thinking like it was my win con because it's kind of really all I had left in the tank. So if he doesn't play like a big card there, maybe I could race him with it. So
yeah, especially too like that game 1 was tough because you had to play those 2 B preps like really early. So you were trying to find that 3rd one late, and you just unfortunately weren't able to find it. So like, cause me and Liam were saying how you were digging. You think you dug like 10 cards deep to try to find it.
Yeah, I tried to Shark my way back. I was gonna grab B prep, but I thought I was in an okay position at that time to not have to grab back B prep. But I think in hindsight, I think I still grab it back because I knew how low I was on removal. So.
Yeah, exactly. And then the Greystone Dragon too, which unfortunately didn't really see any action.
Yeah.
Is that coming out for the dime now? Is that what we're doing?
GSD's bait. I'm gonna commit to that.
I think, dude, I honestly think that if you had GSD like turn 3 or 4, I think that you win those games.
Maybe you try to like play it with like some floating ink, like if you have like 6 ink or something like that, and then you play like say small Sisu and then you play GSD, then that's like a really good turn. But like playing it early is just tough, right? Because you don't usually have anything in the discard pile. But yeah, it's good stuff.
I think that in the mirror match though, I think that GSD goes a long ways. Especially in the grindy Ruby matchups, because like this matchup solely comes down to like just strictly on resources, right? Yeah. Like whoever has the most cards and the most ink is typically gonna win the game.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, so like I think that like early game, I think you can afford to give up a turn to like continuously ramp because like in the mirror match you're playing cards that are your opponent's pretty much forced to answer everything that you play, right? I mean, aside from Tipo.
Well,
he's just
back to Blurple, man. That's it. We're retiring.
We're going back to Blurple. Hey, back to Blurple, baby. And catch me in fumbles next round on the Blurple mirror.
I'm sure my teammate Hayes will be happy to hear that. I think we have Liam back now. So Liam, do you have any questions for the guys?
What's up, Liam?
Can we hear Liam or no?
I cannot hear Liam.
No.
Dang.
The stream can hear me.
Okay.
The stream can hear me, and they'll repeat the question. All right. Well, first, I guess if there's a repeat, the one thing I want to pass along is fantastic matchups. I enjoyed that very much. That's exactly what you want from a Ruby Sapphire, mirror. My question is this, because I couldn't hear most of your answers, and I don't want to revisit anything. But for any Ruby Sapphire player, I need to ask this question, especially since I think I saw Sailor's signature there on one of the cards. There's a debate in the Ruby Sapphire community: 60 cards, or is over 60 cards okay? So you have players like Hamza Khan who ran 66 in the national championship.
Right.
You have Sailor who says 60 is it. What's the answer from both of you? 60 cards or is more okay?
Over 60 is bait, but also I've always been I've played 61 cards for like the last 4 sets. So before Hideaway or things like that, I always had a 1 of Judy Hopps on my list. So kind of like my favorite card. Yeah. But now you can't really afford to play it in your 61st slot. But like some people throw 64 in because you could just throw Develop Your Brains on top.
Yep.
But I don't know. It's preference, I think. I don't agree with playing 72. Probably don't go that route. But 61, you'll be fine.
Hey, I mean, I think he was number 1 seeded in DLC with it, so he did something right?
Yeah.
Yeah, by being
right?
chosen one.
Sometimes people just big brain it, right? And you just have your day.
For sure.
Bro Hamilton, your opinion on the 60 or 60 plus?
So I actually in red and blue I stick with 60, and my steel song list I play 61, and that's only because I don't know what to cut for a fourth peak.
I hear you on that.
So it's like one of those, if you have 61 and you don't know what to cut, you cut the wrong card, it could end up doing more harm or whatever.
Yep.
I don't know. That's one of the takes from.
That's true.
He's a pretty smart guy.
Yep, very true, very true. So, so I guess the big question now remaining is fumbles. Is when is the haircut? Are we gonna get a preview of it?
Might be tonight. Dude. I might.
Just get it over with.
We're going in depression mode. Call me Britney Spears now. We're done with no comment. Oof.
All right. I think that's gonna call it.
On that note, well, thank you everyone. Thank you Fumble, thank you Bro Hamilton for a fantastic match. Congratulations to Ink Thieves. I believe that was a 2-1, correct? Was it a
2-1?
Yep.
It's 2-1.
Yep. So a 2-1 was our first not sweep of the ICL. Couldn't join my team Freedom Gaming or Backseat BSG on Wednesday in the Broom Club.
Thank you to you, Sisu, for being a really fun partner to cast with. I enjoyed every moment of this. And thanks to Wonderland and the other ICL organizers for pulling this together. Fantastic stream. And what a way to spend a Friday night. And thanks to everybody watching, because I appreciate all of your support.
Yep. Thank you. Yep. Oh, Liam's saying bye. All right. And bye from me as well. Thank you, everyone. Peace.
What a great show, everyone. Thanks a lot for watching. We are going to raid a random person, and I will see you on Monday. Thank you a lot.